to Knicks Nation on this Wednesday night. Another special edition of Knicks Fan TV Live presented by MANSCAPED. An annual tradition, Alan. A tradition unlike any other. Not the Masters. The Knicks season preview kickoff with CP the franchise, Hahn Solo, Alan Hahn of ESPN and MSG. Put some respect on his name. The man wears many hats. Alan Hahn is back on the show. Hahn Solo, how you doing, man? Thanks for coming back on.
Oh, it's I've been waiting for this, especially a season like this. And you mentioned the many hats. I'd be remiss if I didn't go there right out of the gate, man. This is the Frank Ntilikina Memorial.
Right out of the gate.
A man of many hats, including this one. Who wants it? Who wants it? How bad do you? This is from Ntilikina's draft night. You Frank fans, I am willing. What are you willing to do for it? I will have it. Maybe at a game coming up this season, I'll take it with me. We'll see. We'll do a contest and we'll let somebody win this hat. This is from his draft.
Yep. 2017 draft, man. 2017 draft.
Rest in peace.
Frank Hive. But the Frank Hive is reloaded. They went over to the Dallas Mavericks. So let's see if he catches on there. So good luck to Frank. But but we got bigger fish to fry because on the heels of a fourth seed in the East, a 40-plus win magical season, the New York Knicks are back. We are just a few days away from training camp, 13 days away from the Knicks preseason opener, man. The fan base is juiced right now, Alan. Let's start with the roster composition. You know, going through this offseason, what did you feel about the moves that the Knicks made in putting this team together this season?
Depth is the word that I think of right away when I look at the roster, right? I mean, are they laden with superstars like some of the teams, at the very top of the league? No, of course not. But if you can't collect stars, then what you do is you make sure you've got quality depth. This team, I mean, I was asking somebody today in the organization, I'm like, you going to let me in and watch some training camp? Because I want to watch the scrimmages.
Yeah.
Because you've got, think about it now. Like when you put the squads together, the starting five, I think we can figure out. But that second five, that's not scrubs. And then that third five, that's the kids. That's the JV. I look at this roster and I think depth, which is going to be important because when people think, well, how are you going to play everybody and you're going to have all this controversy? I think we know minutes at point guard between those two guys, Kemba and Derek, are obviously going to have to be split. Are they always going to be available every night? So to have that depth, I think, is critical. But as we've seen in the NBA, injuries happen. You're going to miss people from time to time. Depth can get you through the worst of times. So I like the fact that they built a team that brought the core back from last year, right? The core, Alec Burks, a big part of what they did. Nerlens Noel, a big part of what they did. Guys like that, to make sure they come back, add pieces like a Fournier gives you something you need, which is a guy that can create for himself. So it's not all on Julius. Kemba was kind of a late pickup. It sort of became that, hey, if we can get him for that, let's do it.
Yeah.
That was an addition as well. And then bringing Derek back, who had such a great impact in the locker room with the young guys. And also, obviously, Tibbs trusts him and he has that trust with him. So there's a vibe with this group that to me says hard-nosed with depth. That's what I like about this team. Now, how good are they compared to everybody else in the East? That's a different conversation.
Yeah.
But I like the moves because I was hoping for stars. We're always hoping for stars. But if you can't get that, then you might as well have a team that's built to last. And I think this roster will prove to be that.
And that's why I like what they did. This free agency class just wasn't that great. Let's just be honest. I mean, you had Kawhi Leonard hurt. You had Lowry out there. You had DeRozan out there. There wasn't really too many guys where I felt like if they missed out on them, it would hurt the team. I felt like bringing the band back together, running it back. I always like stability and continuity with our teams. And in the past, it just hasn't been there. It's been a revolving door of guys. You guys in and out, and you just never build a chemistry. So I like the fact that, they brought back Noel. I like Burks. I love Rose. Obviously, Rose was the XFactor last year for us. They rewarded them for their contributions. But most importantly, they got them on friendly deals in the sense that they have the team options for the third year. So they're keeping it flexible, at the same time keeping it competitive. Then you bring in Fournier. Yeah, you pay, but I think for his level of shooting ability, you're going to have to pay that premium. And for Kemba, look, for $8 million on the steal, I always said the old Knicks would have, traded him for the full max contract and maybe even parted with a pick to bring him in here with the
buy him out. No. Don't worry about buying him out.
Yeah.
We'll take
him all and give you a couple picks, right? So they get Kemba on a low risk move. I thought it was a solid offseason for them. I really did.
Yeah, I like that. Now, how they fit now. Okay, let's put some cold water on it for a second, because the concern that I have right out of the gate is, if Kemba and Evan Fournier are in your starting five, are you going to still be a top 3 defense in the league? Can you be with Kemba playing, obviously the bulk of the minutes at the point? Can you be that guy? That team again that was doing what they were doing last year. So your offense might get better, but how much did you sacrifice defensively? That's something to watch. I don't know. Tibbs could come up with something. Mitch healthy could change everything. There's plenty to discuss on that. The other cold water thing is we still have the Obi Toppin situation. And I know you watched him in the summer.
Yeah.
I told this kid, I said to him, hey, it's coming. Like, I told him that it's coming, man. Like, you start letting it come out, because you're seeing this kid. Like, I saw Summer League, but in the playoffs too, you saw, he had a little something. Like, the moment wasn't too big for him. I didn't think Obi looked like a rookie who was like first playoff experience. Well, this is a bit much. No, he looked like, come on, let's go.
Yeah.
Like, it's almost like he was dragging guys with him. I'm getting up the floor, throw it to me. So I think he might be a guy that we watch and say, how do you get him more minutes? You got to get him more minutes. So that's one. The other one is the rooks, the 2 rooks, Grimes and McBride. I mean, it's a law firm, right?
Yeah.
I got to be honest with you. I know it's Summer League, and I never want to put too much into Summer League, but when was the last time you left the Summer League going, hey, those boys can ball? Like, they got some tough kids that can play. And I came away thinking, I like these 2 a lot, and I want to see them. Where are they going to play? Like, let's be honest. How are they going to play?
Yeah.
And that's a good problem to have, because let them develop. Let them have they're going to do 3-on-3s before the game. You'll see them at the Garden on the floor. They'll be soaked in sweat leaving the floor before tip-off, because they know that's going to be their game each night, because they're just not going to get a lot of burn. In the past, it was the kids have to play. The kids have to play. They don't have to play right now, but, man, it'd be nice when they do get their shot to see how they do. That's the idea of the depth on this team. Those 2 are good, and they don't have to play, and I don't know how they get minutes early on. So that's the other thing that I'll be watching. But I'll tell you what, I'm going to make a statement here, bold one, but I doubt anybody watching right now will disagree. Mitchell Robinson healthy, the Knicks would have beaten the Hawks.
Ooh.
You can tell me all you want about Trae Young and how Trae Young dominated the Knicks in that series. He did. He put up numbers, no doubt. And that team got to a conference final. I mean, they had a run, right? Mm-hmm. The X factor in that series with the Knicks was not Trae Young. It was Clint Capella.
Yeah, big time.
Dominated that series. Dominated. He took Julius out of it because he just shadowed him. He just made a mockery of anything around the rim. He intimidated the Knicks. He was dominant. He was the reason why that series went the way it went. 100% true. If you know basketball, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah. I know Trae got all the headlines and the attention, and I know he put up 30. I get that. But Capella is the main reason why. If Mitchell Robinson plays, it doesn't happen. I feel that. If he's healthy, series goes completely different, because Mitch can do all those things. Offensive rebound, keep the ball alive. He can block shots, rebound. He can catch the basketball, CP. We do know, as much as we love Nerlens, he's got hands like feet, right?
Yeah,
like
he's got those Evan Ingram hands in the football equivalent.
There you go.
You know what I mean?
Oh, Evan Ingram. Yeah.
I'm sorry, man. Giants, PTSD, Hahn.
I know, it's all good. I was actually thinking of the Jets and Stephen Hill, their second-round pick. He could have but I just think Mitch would have made a difference. And Mitch is a guy this year. That's when people are looking at the Knicks and it's like, what do you think they'll be? Best they'll be, 7 seed, something like that. Maybe you just stay out of the 7-10. Maybe they'll get a 6 seed. Can they be that lower team? You don't see them as a 4th seed. Everybody else got better. But I think Mitchell Robinson could be such an X factor this year. A year older, a year stronger. I'm told he's gotten, he's bulked a little bit, but it's not all the physical stuff. The things I'm hearing about him is neck up. That he's kind of getting it now, and he kind of understands it's a big year for him money-wise.
Yeah.
And he's not losing himself in, I'm trying to be like this guy or that guy. Like, he understands, like, you see what Capella got, right, from the Hawks? Like, if you just do that, you can get paid. And I'm telling you, I think he is going to be such a huge piece for this team this year. That's the thing I'm most excited to see out of everything.
Me too. Me too. And yeah, I was going to ask you about, who you thought the X factor was going to be this year. For me, it is Mitch. It is Mitch because I just feel like he gives us so much versatility on the defensive end. Noel was an elite shot blocker. We know that. Top of the league in block percentage, steal percentage as well. Noel was great. And I thought near the end of the season, he really dragged to the finish line. There was points in every game almost where you felt like he wasn't coming back into the game. So the durability was always a question mark with Noel, but he grinded to the finish line. He just got dominated by Capella. He was dominated on the boards, being a non-factor on the offensive end. Capella didn't have to sweat. Capella really didn't have to sweat until he matched up with Embiid, who Embiid made him look like a G leaguer. But for us, Capella looked like, Will Chamberlain out there. It was just tough. So I think, Mitch being able to not just block shots on the perimeter, but just intimidate on the perimeter, make guys think twice before throwing up mid-range shots, or Trae Young throwing up that floater. Mitch's presence has to be accounted for. Also was top of the league in offensive rebounding percentage. Just having a knack for the ball, being able to box out well, being around that glass and being active around there. Mitch could have certainly made a difference. So I think this year, playing with two capable point guards, two nice point guards, 48 minutes, we get 48 minutes of solid point guard play. I think it's going to help Mitch. You got to respect the vertical spacing as well. So just durability is the only thing we have to knock on wood with, but I think Mitch is going to be very big for this team.
There's something that motivates you in a contract year to make sure you're out on the floor, right?
Yeah, right.
Always a business decision. I'm going to play through this one.
Yeah.
But hopefully, like I said, hopefully he gets fully cleared in time for training camp, and we see him right away in the beginning, because I do think, as much as Tibbs loves Noel, because Nerlens is a pro, right? Like, he's always prepared, knows the scouting report. Like, he is so reliable as a guy. It's just another level. When Mitch is right, like physically right, and we saw, remember right before he got hurt, that Washington game?
Yeah.
Who dominated that first half?
Yeah,
like, he was unbelievable in that first half. And it's just, like, that's the guy that really could be a difference maker for this team. And that's something that I think you should be excited about. But I want to ask you, because, again, I think when the last time we spoke on here, I was still skeptical of Julius Randle. Like, that I believe I was talking about, hey, if he plays well, trade deadline, you can get something for him. I believe I was that guy. And I'm never afraid to admit when I'm wrong. Yeah. It's rare, but when I am, I will admit it. And I've said it many times publicly. I was one of those people that he was talking about that doubted him. And I'm glad he said, I don't blame it. I don't blame people for doubting me. Like, it's the year before. But now we've seen what he can do, and we've seen where he can play. Forget about that last memory you have of Julius in the playoffs. That's not all on him. Not all on him. That has a lot of circumstances that led to him just being like, he just was psyched out of that.
Right.
But I also know he didn't go into the offseason and got my extension, all NBA. I'm good, right? Like, all right, I can cruise control this now. I'm all set. No, from what I understand, he went double psycho. Like, he absolutely 0 dark 30. Like, he was just took it to a whole other level, where now it's not only just the game and conditioning, now it's diet that he threw into it as well. And he apparently looks off the charts, physically just off the charts. So that's a good sign. Love that. How much are you buying into him being like that now? Okay, what he was all year, established, reliable, all-star level player. Are you buying him as that now for good? Or do you need to see, are you still sitting back going, all right, let me see what he's got, because I didn't like what I saw in the playoffs? Where are you at with Julius?
You know what? I'm buying it, Hahn. I'm buying it, man. I was with you. I was a Julius doubter. I was ready to send him packing after the first year here. It was a disaster. We called him the Tasmanian Devil, all those things. And then when they drafted Obi, we figured there has to be something there, that he's got to be on the way out. But I just feel like something clicked with him, and that he's figured this thing out. He's always gotten better every year of his career. Give him credit for that. Even though the first year in New York was a disaster, statistically he's always gotten better. But I think last year things really clicked. I think the relationship with the coaching staff, with Tibbs, Kenny Payne, with the management, Worldwide West, they're all on the same page. His offensive arsenal, I don't think was a fluke, man. I mean, some of his shots off the bounce, the plays that he was making, a lot of times I said it reminded me of Melo. He's not Melo, but it reminded me of Melo, his offensive repertoire, and I don't think that's something that you can say is a fluke. I think this guy put in the work. He's put in even more this year, as you said. You have people talking about, he's so svelte now, he could play the three. I'm like, all right, well, let's pump the brakes here. Now they're trying to get him in. They're trying to figure out any way to get him and Obi on the court together, but I'm like, let's pump the brakes there. 29% from three 2 years ago. 41% this year. Since 2000, this is from Vorka, The Athletic, there's only two players that made a bigger jump in their three-point percentage since 2000. That was Joe Johnson and KD.
Yeah.
Three-point numbers are off the charts.
KD's rookie year to his second year, right?
Right.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
Rookie year, yeah.
The efficiency from the baseline led the league. I just think his arsenal is crazy. But this year, he has help. He has a little bit more help, right? Not superstar caliber, but capable players. I thought the Knicks really emphasized bringing in more shot creators to help Julius Randle and take the pressure off of him, because the Hawks series was one where we got exposed in that we didn't have enough outside of Randle and Rose to really be reliable shot creators. Now they bring in Kemba. Okay, we'll see how the knee holds up. You bring in Fournier, a guy who's more capable of putting it on the floor than a Bullock, and can also facilitate. I think RJ year 3 is gonna take another step to help Julius Randle. Now you bring in Burks, Rose, IQ, that tandem off the bench. So I think everyone together is gonna grow, but overall, I think Randle has a lot more help. So I'm buying it, man. I don't think he's gonna rest on his laurels and say, "Well, I got the contract, I can rest." I think the failures in the playoffs is gonna be another motivating factor for him to be great with us this year.
I think you're 100% right. The additional guys that can create for themselves, that aren't just catch and shoot types. You can't, like, what did we learn about Julius during the year? You can't play him one-on-one. He basically will win his matchup one-on-one.
Yeah.
Almost against almost anyone. You got to double him now. Mm-hmm. And he struggles, right? When the double comes, that's when he struggles. We understand that. Like, and you talk about the Tasmanian Devil. I mean, he does get himself into that move and then realizes, here comes the double, I got to make a pass, but it's a blind pass. But when he's one-on-one, he's reached that level of I can beat anybody one-on-one, and that's special. So having someone else that you got to guard, floor spacing will be a lot better. Again, worry about the defensive end. We can get to that, but that's up to the head coach to make sure that's not an issue. I'm also buying him. I'm buying Julius as the the Knicks star. I'm not buying, I'm not trying to make him like, oh, he's gonna be a top 10 player, top 15 player. No, I know where he's at, but it doesn't mean you still can't be a really competitive team led by a guy who can get you 20-10 on a given night, 20-10-5 on a given night, knowing how well he's taking care of his body, knowing where he is at peace with his mind, how comfortable he became at the Garden. All those things, I think, were important for him last year, carrying into this year. There's not going to be any new experience. This idea that there's higher expectations on him is insane. No, not higher. Just do that again. Simple as that. But you mentioned RJ. Year 3 now. And I know, let me ask you this one first.
Yeah.
I don't mean to take over your show, by the way. I'm just used to being the one.
We're here, man. Salute to everybody in the chat once again. Hit that thumbs up button for you boys. CP and Han Solo here talking Knicks. A couple days away from Knicks training camp opening up.
Yeah, I'm fired up, as you can tell. With Barrett, people get so caught up with they made this list and RJ wasn't on it. How about this list and RJ's not on it? They're making this ranking and RJ's not on it. Who cares? Like, why do we care about that stuff?
So
I mean,
the Knicks fans want respect. They want respect, Hahn. They want respect, man. Sports Illustrated left
hello,
them off the top 100. ESPN
man.
left them off the top 100. The Knicks fans, we want our respect. We want
Did
it.
you do you see the names of the people that make these lists? Like when ESPN made their list, did they ask me to help them? No. They didn't ask me. Like, so, like, who are they asking? Like, come on. Like,
It's all Kellerman. Trust me. Kellerman's behind it. Kellerman's pulling the strings.
He's telling them, no, this. No, but I mean, like, I could give a damn about that stuff. Now, does it bother me that, that he's not all rookie? Does it bother me that he's not in the Rising Stars game? Like, is that stuff? Yeah. That I'm like, what the hell are we doing? Because, oh, by the way, if you've seen any of the redrafts from the 2019 draft, he's always 3.
Yeah.
Nobody changes that.
Yeah.
He's always 3. So that tells me he's still right exactly where he belongs. But I'm curious to see what jump he makes. And if he can, because if you add Kemba, who's ball dominant, going to score. Julius obviously is going to have the ball and he's scoring. Fournier's ball dominant, going to score. Well, what does RJ become? Like, what does RJ become? Because we know what he is. We know that another guy one-on-one, that he's too strong for most guards to cover. He dominates you physically, right? But where does he fit? How's he going to get his, 5, 6, 7, 8 shots a game that can get him close to 20, get to the line, which he's starting to learn how to do. Much better free throw shooter than we gave him credit for last year. A good rebounder for a guard, better defender as the year went on, learning how to be that guy that with his size and strength can be a good defender. Like, CP, what is he going to be on a team that just added 2 vets that are all about score first?
I think it's an interesting question. On the Kemba dynamic, the one thing I can say about Kemba is he's going to be a better facilitator and less tunnel vision than Peyton was for RJ. So I think he'll still have some opportunities.
You mean like he's blind in one eye?
Yeah.
And it's always the side of the court that RJ's on. Which eye is? Wherever RJ is, it's that eye.
My goodness, man.
We can say it now.
Yeah, I mean, I do believe, yes, Kemba's going to be more ball dominant and relied on to score. And I think rightfully so, because like I said, I think we need a more reliable second guy to Julius. And I think Kemba can bring that until we see what RJ can continue to be. But I think Kemba will find some chemistry with RJ, find him in some catch and shoot situations. RJ has been working on his shooting off the bounce, more off the dribble, as his trainer Drew Hanlon said. So will we see more of that? Will we see him finish a little bit better at the rim or through the mid-range? I think those are also he's got to.
He's got to be a guy, because we know he's not an explosive jumper.
Yeah.
But he's got to stop getting his shot blocked when he gets to the rim, because he gets the rim at ease, right? At
ease.
And you know what else? And I know it's not the best play. I know Jamal Crawford one time told me how frustrating it was at first to play in the D'Antoni system, because in the beginning it was Duhon at the top. I know, I can't believe I just said that. Chris Duhon at the top, and they would have. I mean, do you remember this? He had Jamal go in the corner.
Yeah.
And Jamal was standing like this with his hands on his hips. Now, if you're guarding Jamal and he's got his hand on his hips, what are you doing? He ain't getting the ball, right? Like, I can take my eyes off him because he's not getting the ball. So he had to understand, like, he learned, and then they traded him, but he learned how to be be available, because he knew pass was going to come if the defense reacted. RJ, I feel like what we learned about him this past year, he's actually really good corner 3 shooter.
Yeah, he was solid.
Yeah, like up higher, not so much, but if you put him in the corner, and nobody wants to do that, nobody wants to put baby in the corner, but I mean, it could work with spacing, and he could eat there in the corner, especially if Kemba's running high screen roll,
right,
and there's your kick out right there.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm hoping he can find his way, because he's not going to be a primary. He's not going to be a secondary in this offense.
Yeah.
He can't, with the talent that they have here, unless, of course, he shows up and he's off the charts better than everybody else.
I would also say, though, in transition is where he shines. And I think when you add in Kemba, you add in Fournier along with Julius and RJ, now you have 4 guys that can run the break for you. And I think that's where what we need to be doing. We need to get out and run. You add Rose in the mix. If he's out there with Rose, Burks, IQ, I think getting RJ out there and running and in transition is also an area where he can excel. So I think they'll find their ways. Still going to be interesting to see how he mixes with Kemba and Fournier, but I on the optimistic side, I like the fact that they're better facilitators than Bullock and what Peyton gave us. So I think we'll see what happens. But a big question for me for RJ is on the defensive side. Because now he's going to be drawing a lot of those tough assignments, a lot of those wings that Bullock used to take on last year. Bullock was kind of that punching bag for the Knicks defense in that he would take on the tough assignments. Wasn't always lockdown, but he would take a lot of pressure off of the guards, especially RJ and some of the point guards as well, by taking on those tough assignments. So this year, RJ's going to have to be that guy.
Who's guarding Harden? Who's guarding KD?
Harden? That's a fact.
Who's guarding them?
That's a fact.
I'm not saying like Reggie Bullock made anybody shaking their boots, but at least Reggie was in the league long enough to kind of know, 6'8". I know, what they're about, and I'll give them all I got. That's going to be interesting. Interesting to see how they play that too. Defensively. That's why I said I think for Tibbs this year might be a little bit more of a challenge defensively than was last year, because last year was a lot easier with that group to sort of say we start with defense. Because we don't have a ton of offense here. Now it's a different mentality, and that, can RJ emerge as one of those guys, man? Again, a very valuable player in this franchise, very valuable player for this team, but yet how he fits, that's what's so compelling. Like I mentioned earlier, there's so much depth there. You almost could argue, could interchange. You could say, well, what if we move this player here because he'd fit better in that 5 and move him back? I mean, what are you doing off the bench? Quick showed me something in Summer League that he's got good vision. He can see the floor. He knows where to make the pass. He didn't shoot great, but I didn't care about that. I was watching him. How much is he turning it over, and how much is he seeing open players and setting people up to score? Mm-hmm. I really felt, what do you average, like 7-8 assists
about
a game?
7 or 8 times. I thought he was pretty competent in the pick and roll in Summer League.
Yeah, I like that a lot. So does that allow Derek to, again, just be Derek, be the scorer? Burks obviously had to run some offense a little bit, but when you let him just be that scorer off the bench, we've seen him go for 20. He's had those games. It's a really interesting group. Again, you mentioned Obi, and then Nerlens. That second group is it's a quality second group. In fact, we had a trade.
Yeah. We have a trade. I don't know if it's a Simmons trade, man. It might be some terrible Giants news that I've been tracking all day, but
don't worry about that.
Yeah, I don't see it. NBA superstars moves on hold, according to Bobby Marks. So I guess it's Bobby Marks probably talking numbers. So no movement on Simmons or anybody like that.
But you know what though? That Simmons thing, I said this on my show today.
Yeah.
That Simmons situation in Philly, and I've talked to some guys in Philly, but they're not more than likely going into camp, and this is going to hang over them because they need a point guard. They're not trading him for nothing. They're not trading him. And it's not like they want kids and picks. No. They're trying to win a chip.
Right.
They want a vet. They want somebody good. That they know, plug them in, let's go. We're trading you a star. You got to give us a star. And that's going to be hard to do. So I kind of feel like that. When you're looking at the East, there's the Nets. Then there's 30 feet. And then there's, the Bucks. And then there's another 30 feet. And then there's everybody else. Right, Miami got better, but they are kind of, you got to watch and see how durable they're going to be. Right. Mm-hmm, and by the way, if Tyler Hero keeps doing these cover photos, did you see the one he just did?
I missed it. I totally missed it.
Check out. Tyler Hero did some cover pictures somewhere. He looks like he looks like a kid who is attending an '80s throwback party. It's like honestly, I said to a friend of mine, it actually looks like me in the '90s. The hair, and the outfit. I'm like that's a good thing social media wasn't around when I was. But that. So the Heat are going to be. They could be really good, but you just how durable are they going to be able to stay? And there's the Sixers with that hanging over them. If Simmons isn't there, it's Embiid and role players that'll play hard, but they're not the same. Boston has a new coach. They should be better, but who's their point guard? Marcus Smart. I love him as a grinder combo, but I don't know if I love him as my lead guard. So does Boston, did they figure things out, or are they still going to have some issues? I don't like. It's not as easy. It's not as given as you think. I think the Pacers are going to be a lot better because
I
they're going
think
to
the
be more
Pacers are going to be
organized.
better. Yeah, you got to put some respect on Carlisle's name for sure.
Yeah, right. He's going to have them organized, which they were not last year. They were a mess of a team
Chaos.
last. Chicago, they added some pieces. Is that going to work for them?
I don't like that bench. I don't. I think they're thin on the bench.
Yeah, no bench. Yeah, it's young and they don't really have a great bench, but they are young. But they got some pieces there.
Yeah.
That kid Williams is a baller.
He's coming up. He had a strong summer league too.
Yeah. So then there's Charlotte, and then so where do the Knicks fit in? Like where do they fit in here? But Philly having their issues, I feel like if I'm in the East, good. I hope this last half of the season. I hope this is a controversy that clouds this team because if you just take one out of the way, everybody slides up.
Well, first of all, it's refreshing to see other teams in turmoil outside of the Knicks for offseason, man. You got Philly going through what they're going through. The Timberwolves just got rid of their president of basketball operations after he made all these moves this offseason for them. Even Karl Anthony Towns is emoting on Twitter, scratching his head. So, gonna have to look out for that. But so it's good to see other teams in turmoil, and the Knicks got their house in order. But as you said, the Philly thing is interesting. Morey has to be kicking himself because he should have gotten Harden last year. Now he's kind of stuck because I don't think the Dame trade is available until maybe, trade deadline at the earliest. I think Dame will give Portland some time. He's not going anywhere, right? Who do you want? John Wall? So I think Philly's in a very, very tough spot. But I agree with you. I think in tier 1, you're going to have to put the Nets and the Bucks. I'm putting them 1 and 2 respectively. And then after that, I think there's a lot of parity between, we'll see what happens with Philly, but I'm going to have to drop them down a little bit depending on where they go. I'll put the Hawks up there just out of respect. Reluctantly.
You're right.
I got to put some respect on their name. They finished well. Yeah, it's a good team. Solid team. So I'll put some respect on the Hawks' name. Miami, I think they'll be solid defensively. They got the pieces. Lowry defense, Tucker defense. Yeah, Spoelstra defensive mind. I think defensively they'll be good.
They're going to be a hard team to play against. You're going to hate playing that team.
Yeah, they owned the Knicks last year. Absolutely dominated the Knicks last year. So that was a tough matchup for us. Celtics, as you said, the point guard situation is going to be tough. I think Horford, obviously, he played well for them when he was there. Pacers, you got to put some respect on their name. I think the Knicks, I had them at 46 wins. So I feel like 6th seed, between the 5th or the 6th seed is where I have them. I think they'll be better than Boston. I have them over the Pacers, over the Bulls, over Charlotte. So I think they'll be hovering around 5th and 6th.
Yeah, I think it's a fair assessment. And then the variable is going to be RJ third year, Mitch, coming back, and where is he? Because all that stuff can change quickly if a young guy or two takes the leap, quickly becomes, the Lou Williams that everybody thinks he's going to be, sooner rather than later. Then obviously all things change. So that's the thing about the Knicks is that you kind of know what everybody else is. You don't really know yet what the Knicks are. You saw something last year. Obviously, they took advantage of a weak East to get the 4th, right? Like they took advantage. Let's be honest. I mean, they took advantage of some things, and they got, they had the winning streak late, and it got them to a high seed, and that's wonderful. But no one sees them in that stratosphere right now. But that doesn't mean the potential isn't there for them to be better than we might expect them to be based on the unknown of young players who we saw have potential. How quickly do they get to that potential? The one thing that, again, there's a lot of stuff that I've heard from this organization in this offseason. And something that we saw, I thought, in the summer, it was on display a little bit, but something that is, no longer a secret is, you talk about, it's nice to see other franchises go through chaos and issues, right? It's also interesting to hear, or not hear, but to know the Knicks development and their focus on that is, I don't think it's ever, like, I have to go back to, Jeff Riley era when they spent time on their young guys and really put a lot of time in on these kids. The way that they're doing it now. And it's also helpful that what's the one thing, the connective DNA with a lot of the players that they've put together here is that gym rat thing that they talked about a lot last year. Quick talked about it. Tibbs, obviously, we know is a gym rat, right? It's a very similar mentality. Julius is a gym rat, which I never knew that, but he is. And when you put sames like that together, The ones that are sort of like hovering on the periphery that, I don't know, like not really a gym rat, but I do love to play. But man, all these dudes, they coming back again tonight, and then they're back tomorrow. Well, you all getting together this weekend? You going to New York and working out this week? All right, I guess I should be there. Next thing you know, it's just like, now you got 15 there. So I've heard that's slowly developed last year early, but it wasn't everyone yet. Then Derek shows up, and Derek's a gym rat, right? So now Derek gets with these kids, and he's going like, whoa, like, all right, you guys are like this too? All right, let's go. And then like it's just more and more and more to the point where you don't want to be the one that isn't there. Like that's seriously what happened. It became so many guys were there, it was more notable who wasn't than who was. And you didn't want to be the one that like found out in the group chat, like, we were all there, and like, where were you? Like, like, so once you get that in an organization, it's pretty special. And then you add McBride, Grimes, even Sims, you add guys like that, and they're the same way. So you put them in this environment, like Huggins said this, you put that kid in this environment and you go like, oh, we're all workers here? Yeah, let me get some of that. That's what I am most excited about this group, is not necessarily, the star-studded thing. Like I was telling a friend of mine this today. 2012 offseason, right? Pretty exciting, wasn't it? Like it was just the name after name. Like, man, Sheets coming here. They got this guy. Like you just kid. Now I understand that was an old group, but there was something like, oh, okay. Like, all right, this might not last long, but this is gonna be a squad.
Yeah,
like,
you could feel it. You could feel it.
Man, that first night, like you just knew, like,
there,
yeah. And when they went on to do literally that, like it was a hell of a year.
Yeah.
But that 12, I was at Summer League. I was there. I saw Ray Felton. He was coming by, and I was just like, man, like, can you believe this? He was coming back. I love the fact that Q Rich came like later in that year. I was like, that's so cute. I'm glad you could be around to see this after everything you lived through when you were here the first time around. Like there was just some cool vibe about that group, but you knew it'd be short-lived. I haven't been this, I don't want to say excited because that's a little too over the top. I haven't had this much anticipation for a Knicks season since 2012. Not this much, where I was like, this is going to be good. Like, this is going to be good. It might not win a chip. This might not have that same potential as that group should have had. But I'm like, what's going to come? Like I told you before we started, I want everybody to hear what I said to you. What you're doing with this, with what you've got here, with your brand, with KFTV, what you're doing, like I admire it so much. I love that the work you're putting in and how you've grown this, like little by little, the consistency you've shown, which is the most important thing for any brand. And I told you what I said. I said the best is yet to come, because you were doing this when the team was winning 17 games, and you obviously
when we drafted Frank, and people were, oh man, the despair outside of MSG that night, man. It was rough. It was rough, man.
So think about that, right? And then I'm thinking, now you're going to actually be talking about a team that is going to be on national TV a ton.
Yeah, about 16.
A lot of ESPN, a lot of TNT. Like it's going to be, the world's going to see them. They are a team that people want to watch and see and are curious about. And that's only going to help you blow up even more. So when I say the best is yet to come, I mean it for you and what you're doing here. But also I think with this team, it's not a one-hit wonder. It's not a small window. This feels like, okay, what did we say last year? I want to see this trending up. I want to see it heading in the right direction. I want to end the season feeling like, all right, now it's finally on its way. Well, you feel like that, and this is year 2. So that's what I'm excited about. That's why I say I have anticipation for this season. So I feel like the best is yet to come for this group, and I'm just curious to see what they can do this year.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. For the first time since 2012, you actually feel it. Because last year, I had them at 26 wins last year. I wasn't expecting too much, but with what they did, with the job that Tibbs did, and he was great, and I want to get to Tibbs after this, but as you said, it just seems like the foundation is being built, and this is what the fan base has wanted. Yes, we want to build a contender, but we want to see it built brick by brick, and it really feels like they're building that infrastructure. As you said, they're bringing in the gym rats. We learned that, when they're drafting these kids, they really want high-character guys. It seems like they have that in Grimes and McBride. They bring in Kemba, another good locker room guy. We had Fournier on the show. Fournier really seems like he's a stand-up guy, very focused and ready to come in in and gel with the guys. So it really seems like they're putting that in. And I feel like Tibbs, a lot of people knock Tibbs and say, well, he's a stubborn coach. He's an old school coach. But even Tibbs, bringing the 4-point line into practice, catching up to what the league is doing, allowing players to play to their strengths, like allowing quickly to shoot those 40-footers, 30-plus footers, because that's his game. And it seems like when Tibbs had that time off, he went to Miami, he went to Boston, he went to the Clippers, studying under those coaches, seeing what was going on around the league. I feel like he did evolve to a certain extent, and that has also reaped benefits on this team.
Yeah, Golden State, spent some time there as well, and just talking to players, spending time with USA Basketball and talking to stars, just understanding, where the game was going. And I still believe, I know I'm old. I played at a time where we ran sprints till you threw up. I just, that was just, you just accepted it. Like when you got yelled at, you just, nobody ever yelled back. You just took it. But I do think players want to be coached. I do believe that. Players want to be coached. What they want, though, is to be coached. They want to trust you. You got Joe Judge, right? That's your coach,
yeah.
Joe Judge.
Yeah.
Joe Judge is, he's got all this discipline and all this Belichickian type stuff, right? And he just comes in and we talked with Sterling Shepard, right, the other day? Mm-hmm. And I asked that of Shepard. He said, it's not an easy place to play, right? It's just not. Sure. But you're getting coached. I know I'm going to get better.
Yeah.
But it's not for everyone, right? So you got to get the right kind of people that want. So Bob Huggins said that about his boy. He's going to the perfect situation. They'll love him there because it's right? It's exactly what he needs. He loves it. He thrives in that kind of environment. That's the kind of people you have to get. So when they say, would you trade this pick and move back to that pick? You could have gotten this guy and that guy, but was he the right fit?
Was he the right guy? Right.
And you know what? Here's the other thing about Tibbs. Where were the Knicks in the first quarter of the season in three-point shooting percentage?
Oh, they were bottoms.
Bottom third. Mm-hmm. Where were they when they finished the season?
Third or fourth.
Yeah, top 5. Is that development?
Yeah.
Is that coaching?
100%.
Is that getting better? Now, did they shoot more threes? Marginally more. They just got better at shooting them.
Yeah, quality threes.
Yeah. So when you say, give me the evidence of coaching and improvement and development and, making adjustments and understanding the way the game is going, 3-point shooting is everything. I was the guy that would say post game all the time, can't win in this league if you're not making threes. Mm-hmm. You can't win in this league if you're not making threes. And look, they shot another night. They shot, 30%. Another night they couldn't. The other team made all these threes. You made this many threes. Look at the difference. That's the game. That's the game right there. And then as the season went on, I got a little better.
Yeah.
And by the end, they were one of the best 3-point shooting teams in the league.
Mm-hmm.
There's your coaching. Everybody that wants that evidence of development and coaching and adjustments and all that stuff, look no further than there. So they were the best defensive 3-point team, and they were the best offensive 3-point team, one of the best in the league by the end of the year. So that's coaching. So if it's not happening in the first 10 games of the season, maybe we're at a point now where you have a coach where you're like, all right, let's see what Tibbs does here. I know, because I'm old enough to have heard from the old timers who have told me that even Red Holzman got questioned. even people were yelling at Red about decisions he was making, and why are you putting him in there? Why isn't this guy playing? Red heard it too. Yeah. Hall of Famer, two rings, and Red heard it. So I don't expect people to just sit back and let Tibbs coach. But I'm kind of at that point now where I'm going to sit back and let Tibbs coach because I think he proved he knows what he's doing.
And that's where I was. And listen, coach finished with the Coach of the Year, but it's a recency bias, right? Just like Julius's playoff failures, the fan base asked the question, where was Tibbs' adjustments in trying to move Capella away from the basket? Why didn't he play Obi and Julius more? Why didn't we go small for more offense? They looked at the job that Ty Lue did with the Clippers in exposing Gobert in Utah, going small. They had Batum at the 5, and it reaped benefits. They washed the Jazz out of that series, even without Kawhi Leonard. So a lot of people questioned Tibbs when it came to that Hawks series in terms of his lack of adjustments and put it on him as well as Julius in terms of why they lost that series 4-1.
That's fair. Who are the Knicks going to play at the 5? Right. What are they going to do?
Right.
How does Tibbs make Julius start making shots that at a point in, I think, game 3, he psyched out.
He was toast.
You could just see it in his eyes.
Yeah, toast.
I felt that's where I really felt bad for him because I think all of us kind of could relate to him. Like, oh God, I know that feeling.
Yeah.
Like, you can't throw in the ocean. Like, my God. Like,
Yeah.
like every shot you take, you're like, hope it goes in. Like, damn, really? Like he couldn't find a rhythm to save his life, and that was tough to watch. There was no Batum on this team. We got Obi Toppin. Right. I mean, like I'm sure he watched that film. I think we'd all agree that Tibbs probably watched the film of that series. What would you say? For a month, he punished himself watching that series? For a month, probably, like straight, every day, just back and forth. Game 1, game 2, game 3, game 5. And then we do it again. Let's do it again. Let's do it again. The Hawks were a team, by the way, that did get all the way to the conference final. It's not like this was some, they then got smoked in the second round. Like they caught some teams, like they did, like they showed something. But I mean, I get it. The Sixers were also falling apart too, but I just go back to that they just weren't ready to win at that point. Like they didn't have an answer for Capella.
Yeah.
And to do the idea of play small, I think we're forgetting some of the details of that series. Capella, who was going to get a rebound? He got every rebound.
Yeah. And
if Julius was making shots, all right, that's a different story. But he couldn't make a shot. So there were a million rebounds to be had. It just you had to have a big out there. But I'm making excuses for the coach, and I probably shouldn't, because I'm sure he watched the film and found reasons that he could have made adjustments. But they're a different looking team than last year. Like, it's not even the same looking team this time around.
Yeah.
So, anyways, that's my take on it. I think they have their coach. There is that worry now. Okay, year 2, do people start getting tired of the grind? Does that start to affect them? Look what happened in Minnesota, all that stuff. All that stuff, especially if, they're not off to a hot start or if they don't look the same. All that's going to come up about Tibbs. You just got to know ahead of time, expect it, because that's where the media goes. That's the narrative about Tibbs. Just be ready for it.
The bar has been set, man. The bar has been set. There's no turning back, Solo. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens, man. But the optimism is certainly there. Salute to everybody in the chat. Once again, hit that thumbs up button for your boys. We got over 1,000 people here in the chat. Throw your cities in the chat. Type your cities in the chat. Let us know where you guys are checking in from. Obviously, you got 2 of Long Island's finest in the building here. We're 516 and 613. The aristocrat of Brentwood, as we called Alan Hahn last year, is in the building. So, throw your area codes in there as well. I want to shout out Junior. Karoma sends a super chat. He's a Giants fan as well. He says, salute CP the Don, Hahn and Wally, forever our guys, NYK for life. Grown Simba sends a super chat. He says, RIP to the Frankie Hive. Good riddance. Alan, you stopped doing Facebook Lives on the Knicks topic. Will you bring it back next season? Will the Knicks Fix be back up and running next season?
Yes, I did lives after every game.
Yeah, I thought so.
So, yeah, I'll once we're done with post game, I usually either do it in the car, I'll do it in the hotel room, or I'll do it from down here. Hey, I had to retire the studio, by the way. Like, this was for 1 year. Like, I can't really show you. I have to turn everything around.
Okay.
But in front of me was huge lights, a huge camera, like this whole setup. And you could barely walk in this thing, right? And this was where I was for most of last season.
That's
until
right.
When they finally let me out of my cage. But you won't see me doing post games from down here anymore. So they took all the equipment out. It feels kind of empty and lonely in here right now. But yeah, like this was sort of like my home away from home. And I have a bunch of broken remotes and a few mugs that I smashed as well.
Tough losses, man. Tough losses.
Yeah, the frustrating ones.
Yeah.
For damn sure. But yeah, no, on the Knicks Fix, I bet you there's a lot of Knicks Fix people watching right now as well on that Facebook page too, because there's a lot of great synergy between your page and my page. So like I said, I'm really fired up for this year. I'm curious to see what they're going to look like, what type of team they're going to be, and if that momentum from last year is picked up and the city really gets caught up in it.
Yeah.
Because I mean, from 34th Street to 31st Street on 7th Avenue, That was a sea of people after game 2.
Man,
That
it was electric, man. It was electric, and let me tell you, we're gonna get to some calls too. If you guys want to call up, talk to CP and Solo, 657-383-1509 is the number to call, or you can call us via the Knicks Fan TV Discord. So we're gonna get to your calls in just 1 second. I want to shout out Russell Whiskey, who sent a super chat. He says, "Question for Hahn: are the rumors that RJ got taller true?"
Haven't seen him in person. So I can't tell you. I'm 6'6". So if he's taller than me now, I'll know the first time I see him.
Yeah.
Only we were pretty much about pretty much the same level. But, I've heard some people have said that he's got, like, some people said 6'8". I find that hard to believe that he would grow that much. But I thought he looked good in the summer when he played for Canada. It's just a shame that, they didn't win and move on. But he had a couple of good games. So yeah, I mean, we keep forgetting how young he is. Can he drink yet? I think he's 21, right?
I think he's 21. I think he's 21. So he's definitely getting there. And as you said, Canada got bounced out early, but you did see some of the things he was working on, man. The step back threes and the pull up jumpers, and again, you saw that again in Drew Hanlen's workouts as well. So I hope that that translates on the court for RJ, because that'll certainly take his game up another notch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm really curious to see what he's become. And by the way, I'll throw this out here too. Keep an eye on the Pelicans, man. Speaking of RJ and his good friend.
Yeah. Yep.
Zion. I don't know how long that's going to take, but I just feel like that's one of those.
It's a matter of time.
Yeah, it just feels like at some point that's just going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
It just feels like you ask anybody, it's almost like people just do that eye roll, like, oh yeah, he'll be in. Like, like that kind of thing. And, they're tight. That they're tight.
Yeah.
And, they're going to say all the right things. But, I'm just, I wanted to see Dame. I thought Dame in New York would have been fantastic.
Yeah, me too.
I do believe he definitely thought about it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just, I think that's gone now. I think that ship has sailed. I think he's just deciding, like, Portland's going to be where it's going to be. It was a lot like KG. Remember KG? It took forever to get KG out of Minnesota.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, like, Kevin McHale had to say, well, I just traded you, so you have to go.
Yeah, right.
You need to go. And I think Lillard needed that, but that ship might have sailed at this point, and the Knicks might have said, we just got to move on and stop hanging on to that. So that's now my other one now. I was like, all right, well, we all know Zion's not completely thrilled down in New Orleans. It's like with the third coach now he's going to have. Like, so...
I don't see that working.
Be a linchpin in that. RJ could be a huge reason for something like that.
But then, I agree. I do think it's the next move is going to be probably the next generation of stars, because I think Dame is from that previous set. I think that ship is going to sail. Doesn't make sense for us. But I do look at Zion, maybe a Levine, maybe a Spider down the road. I don't really see it with Booker. But with Zion... how do you see that? Even if that was a possibility, do they send Julius packing? You see them coexisting? Does somebody move to the 3?
Fair. That part's fair. I mean, obviously Julius on the extension, kind of makes it a no fit, right? Mm. But like I said, there's still several years before Zion. I remember he go into restricted free agency. If he doesn't accept an extension, they just qualify him. I know I'm talking all this gibberish right now, but basically you're in your rookie deal. You get to the 4th year, sort of like where Kevin Knox is right now, right? Yeah. Like Kevin Knox, Frank. All right, Frank got into his 4th year, and you were eligible for an extension. The Knicks didn't offer it to him. He goes into the summer. You have to extend what is called the qualifying offer. Mm-hmm. If you do that, you're against the cap for a qualifying offer number, which is the percentage of your salary. And then what happens is you then would be a restricted free agent until your home team signs you. Hmm. So it means somebody can offer you a contract and you'd have to match. But then the Knicks rescinded the qualifying offer, and that's what made Frank the unrestricted free agent. So in Zion's case, if he doesn't want to stay there, he'd have to max out his contract. So he's in year 3. Yeah. So he'd have to stay there for another year. And then they can qualify him, which means he's restricted, which means no matter what anybody offers him, they can match it. Mm-hmm. So technically, they could keep him locked up. I would probably say another 5 years.
Yeah.
On top of this one, like past this one.
Right.
So it's going to be some time.
Yeah.
So it's a matter of, does he just reach that boiling point? I don't want to be here anymore. It also depends on just how big RJ emerges in the organization. Like if he, becomes this big star, then it's like, all right, who do you want? Okay, we'll go get him. That kind of thing. So a lot of things have to happen, but that's a story I'm watching. Simmons, some people have asked me, oh, why don't the Knicks trade for Ben Simmons? Tibbs would love him. He's a defensive player. Here's why. Clutch.
Yeah.
You understand?
Mm-hmm.
Who's on the Knicks right now that has some issues with Rich Paul and Clutch?
That would be Nerlens Noel, who said they built about it, $50-something million?
Yeah. So with that going on, and just understanding that Clutch clients, Mitch fired them, right?
Yeah.
Like it's
bad blood.
Leon's a CIA guy, in his blood.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I don't see that being a fit.
Yeah,
so
I don't see it.
Even if the Sixers looked at the Knicks roster and said, there's plenty of pieces that we want off that. Even if they did, which I don't think they do, that's out.
Yeah.
So this year's star that wants out, which we seem to have one every year, the Knicks won't be involved in this one.
Yeah, I think they'll be patient though. At the same time, I think that's what they've shown, and they still have the war chest, plenty of draft picks to go in the future, and they keep the cap flexible, and so I think the Knicks are set up well, man, to compete, and then just stay ready when the opportunity to presents itself to really upgrade this team. Shout out Shea Burgess sends a super chat. He says shout out to CP and the Knicks Fan TV entourage for the time and energy and resources you and your team put in to give us diehard Knicks fans the best Knicks content on the planet. Hashtag enough respect. Hashtag Knicks for life. Hashtag vet. Shea Burgess, definitely appreciate you, man. Definitely appreciate it. And as you spoke on Knicks fans, big announcement regarding the Knicks home opener. So our home opener event that we're putting on with Knicks OmniFan has officially sold out. But my guys at Forzano Law Firm have hit me up. They said, CP, we want to get involved. We got a blockbuster offer for you and the fans. So what we're going to do is, my guys at Forzano Law Firm, we're going to give away 4 tickets to the Knicks home opener against the Celtics in a package deal. The package is going to include tickets to the game, sit with me and my guys from Knicks OmniFan. You'll see other guys from Knicks Fan TV. Papa Left, Ari will be there. It'll include a ticket to the pregame live stream party at Mustang Harry's. That'll be a pregame show hosted by myself, JD Sports Talk. We got a number of special guests already lined up for that. And then opportunities to win prizes and giveaways, including an autographed Julius Randle Most Improved Player Basketball. So it's a blockbuster deal. We'll announce the winners on after the Knicks versus Pacers preseason game on October 5th. So go to KnicksFanTV.com right now and sign up. And hey, you may be able to win. And once again, that's brought to you by my guys at the Forzano Law Firm. Shout out my guys David and Anthony, fellow Knicks fans from the Forzano Law Firm. And Knicks fans, if you guys have been injured in a car accident, construction accident, slip and fall, trip and fall, nursing home incident, my guys at Forzano Law Firm will help you on the road to monetary compensation. They offer free consultation, free representation until you get paid. And just go to ForzanoLaw.com. They have a 24-hour live assistant that can help you. You can also call them at 718-372-1397. Ask for David, Anthony. Let them know CP sent you. If you want to go in person, 271 Avenue U in Brooklyn is the place you need to go. And like I said, man, this is brought to you by my guys at Forzano Law. Big fans of the show and always taking care of Knicks fans, man. So make sure you guys give them a call for your personal injury needs. All right, Solo. I told the fans we're going to take calls. I told them bring the smoke. So let's go. First caller up. I got to go my guy Papa Left. He represents the Knicks Fan TV street team. He's been out there during the playoffs. He went out to Vegas in Summer League. Almost got thrown out of there, but still represented as well. Papa Left. What's going on, bro?
Damn, man. No, CP, happy belated birthday.
Thank you, man.
Definitely appreciate you, man. Keep spinning around this globe with us. We love you over here at Knicks Fan TV.
Thanks a lot, bro.
Alan Hahn, man. And also Alan Hahn and CP are on my flyer for anybody who got the Knicks set T-shirts. You know, you guys are, agents of change for me as far as being able to, express my Knicks set song and you guys sharing it on your platform. So I appreciate the both of you guys for that.
No doubt, bro.
I have a question for Alan Hahn. Mainly, just being a guy, grow up in New York and cover your favorite teams and crossing over into that corporate setting. But you're actually one of the guys that even during the dog days of Melo, when it kind of turned sour, you held the team accountable. You didn't just give a broad stroke or sugar-coated anything on air. And I just wanted to, ask you about, I'm sure that was, not the easiest decision to make. And I also wanted to get your perspective now that you've kind of broadened your coverage. I mean, obviously since Newsday, but you've broadened your coverage having, an ESPN show. What is one moment as a growing up in New York as a fan of this New York sports? What is a moment that you looked around and you're like, wow, I'm actually here? Like, I just wanted to hear your take on that.
The wow moment, Papa Left. Thanks for the question, bro.
I'll give you the wow moment because it's one I'll always, it always stays with me because that was that sort of like, damn, like, I mean, I had that first time, this wasn't the wow as much as it was, I was just a little overcome but I'll give you the wow after this. My first year on the Knicks beat, it was a preseason game. And you come out, you go to the Garden, and you come out. Now, I've been to the Garden, tons of times covering hockey. So I've been in the building when the ice has been down. I've only been in the building basketball-wise. Let me see. Yeah, I attended one Knick game in my life, one, and that was the Brian Quinnett against Michael Jordan game, where Quinnett looked like a superstar in the first half, and then And then MJ put I think 40 on the kid, and then said who, right? Starks and Wilkins were injured, and they had Brian Quinnett start. And man, that first half we were all going nuts, and then the second half it's like
typical MJ.
Stop the fight, right? Throw the damn towel.
In.
Oh my God. So, anyways, because I just couldn't, and I'm being honest. Like, I'm fortunate in life today, but I didn't grow up we didn't grow up with a lot. Like I had to get a scholarship, bro. I wasn't going to college. Like, that was just a real thing. My parents made it clear to me. Like, either you're going to have a ton of loans or you're just going to have to figure out something else. So, I couldn't go to a Knick game if I wanted to. I just never was able to. So, so I show up for the preseason game and I, get in the building and I got the pass around my neck and I'm thinking to myself, like, this is pretty cool. I walk out. Now, again, I should tell you, I covered the Liberty like in the late 90s, so I'd been in the Garden for basketball like that. But the Knicks, a little different. And I walk out, and with the Liberty, you didn't really have a lot of that kind of access. So I walk out and I stop because everybody just walks out on the court like, yeah, here we go. Like all these guys just walk out and stand on the sideline and stuff, and the guys are on the floor warming up. I just stopped, and it's the old setup. So the tunnel, Willis tunnel, and then there's the table. And I just stop at the table and I just look up. And I just sit there like, damn, like I'm on the floor. Like this is it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, all right. So all these years later, it's 2011, February. And at that time, I'm still writing for Newsday, but I was doing some stuff for MSG. And MSG said, all right, what we want to do is they had Al Troutwig up in, the suite like he always is. Mm-hmm. And they're like, all right, what we want to do is have you stand on the court, do a stand-up microphone, IFB. And when, before Melo comes out, give us the atmosphere. Like, be descriptive. Just tell us what it feels like on the floor. Mm-hmm. And then the light's going to go down. They're going to do intros. Melo's coming out. Then we're going to come back to you. And then you can tell us like what that was like. Mm. So I'm on the floor holding a MSG mic, IFB on camera live. And I'm just like, like you could just feel it. Like there's a buzz in the building. And I you remember in Old School where like Will Ferrell, he just like says all this stuff that's intelligent. And then he just goes, What happened? I just blacked out, right? Like literally, like that's what I did. I did this whole description. I'm looking around, I'm seeing things, and I'm just and then I stop talking, and then I'm off camera. Al finishes, and then the lights go down. And in my head, I go, I don't remember.
What did I just say?
So now the intros happen. And, it's this player. I'm already started my, and then, and from, and then it's just the place just erupts. And I am not making this up. And in fact, I've asked people, and I've got to confirm this does happen. The floor was shaking. Like, I mean, I'm like this, like going, like, am I the only one feeling this? Like this it's shaky, up, down. Like that got me. So the lights come back up, and then I can't hear a damn thing because everybody just just insane. And I've got Al saying something to me, no idea what he's saying. But I kind of think you must be saying, what was that like? So, I just talk about how I felt the floor, I felt like all this stuff. And I remember as I'm talking, I was looking through the crowd just to see what people were doing as I was talking. And this was the wow moment. My eyes went to, and again, it's the old building, the old setup still, where I sat for the Gwinnett game. Blues. All the way, I mean,
Blue seats.
And for some reason, because the house lights were on, and it just happened to be, it was across from the Knicks bench. I would never forget it, because I'm way up. I mean, literally, everybody sat up here, right? At the very top of the bowl in the old setup now, because the bridge is up now, everything's different now. But in the old days, there was this cinder block wall right behind you, painted on the very last row.
Yeah, yeah.
Me and my boy Bobby were in the last row, and I remember I stood most of the game leaning against that wall. I could. And I saw fans standing up, leaning against the wall, and I just was like, damn. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
when I gave it back to Al, I just stood there going like you did it. Like you went from there to here.
To the floor.
That was my wow moment. I know it was a long way to get there, but I had to give you the whole context of it. Like that's why last year people made fun of me last year, and I don't care. But when we did, Bill Peter and I did, we did a broadcast one time, it was a road game, and I think it was they played the Bucks, and we did the broadcast from the floor. And one of the producers said, you should bring a basketball so let's shoot around. I was like, no, I'm not bringing a basketball. And so Bill on the air, he's like, why didn't you bring a ball? I go, let me tell you something, Bill. And I mean this. This court is reserved for the greats, not people like me. Like I will never shoot on a hoop in this building. I won't.
Ground, man.
Because this is the Garden. This is the Mecca. Like I played. I wasn't a scrub, but I certainly wasn't good enough to come anywhere near playing in this building, right? Like, funny thing is, I played at the Meadowlands, but I never played in that building. But so for me, like, I never would feel right. I don't want to shoot. I don't want to do that because I'm not worthy. And so I said it. And people are just like, oh, you're so dramatic. Oh, give me a break. Oh, who cares? And all that stuff. But it's just me. That's how I feel. Yeah. Like just because you think it's okay to just, if people shoot half court shots for contests, what does it matter? Now, it matters to me. And so that's why I feel that way. That building, just something about it is special.
Well, I'll tell you, for me, man, I'm 1 for 2 from the free throw line at MSG, man. So I pay good money for that, Hahn.
Okay.
Those are costly
but I'll tell
tickets.
you what, I also don't want to shoot there because I don't want my memory to be an air ball or something.
That's right. That's right, man. I think the first one was good. Second one was an air ball, but no, that was a great story, man.
Yeah, TD Garden for the playoffs that year, and that year, all right, in 11, doing media in the morning shoot around, and everybody's done. The court empties, and they leave the ball rack out. So I'm wearing jeans. I'm wearing like low cuts, and I got like a Adidas zip. And of course, somebody's like, oh, can you dunk? I'm like, yeah, like prove it. All right. So I smashed one at TD Garden. Actually, a couple of them. I got a couple of them back
That's
then.
Good, man.
Too old to do it now, but I did get one at the Garden. I was happy to do it there.
We need the footage though, or else it didn't happen, man.
Take that, Lucky. I don't have video, but I do have a picture. Tina Cervasio took a photo, It's on my page. It's on the Knicks Fix page. You can find it.
All right. We'll take a look, man. We'll definitely take a look. Now that was a great story. Salute to everybody in the chat. Once again, hit that thumbs up button for your boys, CP and Solo on the ones and twos. Over 1,000 people here on the chat. Anxious, rambunctious Knicks fans, ready for this Knicks training camp and this preseason to start, man. We are just a few days away, so let's get it going. I want to shout out Rare Edition for the super chat. It says salute CP, happy birthday. Salute to the mods. Alan Hahn, 68 degrees all day.
Yes. I need to get this room at 68. It's a little hot down here.
Yeah, me too, man. Shout out Paul P. Paul P checking in from Trinidad. Paul, how you doing? Michael Parker sends a super chat. He says, salute Knicks Nation. Let's go. Boston Nick, always in here. He says, happy belated CP. Hope you had a good one. Number one to Han Solo. Credit to my guy, Brian, a.k.a. Random Knicks Guy. What celebrity would you watch the game with? And about Mitch, why aren't we worried about Mitch adding extra body weight? I guess in terms of his speed and agility. So which celebrity would you want to watch the game with that you haven't already? And any concerns about Mitch bulking up and the impact on his agility?
Tracy Morgan or Ben Stiller. I never got a chance to sit with either one of those two. I bet you watching the game with Tracy would be hilarious. I've only got to talk to him before games, but not actually during. And Ben as well. Ben, if I see him like courtside, I always make it a point to go over and say hello. Like one of the most approachable, nicest people, but talk about a diehard. Like he goes back too. Remember, his parents were going to games.
Yeah, his father. Yeah.
Back in the day, like so, he's got real DNA.
Yeah.
In him. But yeah, like just because it would be fun. It'd be fun to watch a game with Tracy. Just because or even Chris. I guess Chris Rock too.
Yeah.
I get just guys that would be into it and also be funny as hell. Guys like that would probably be a lot of fun. Mitch, not worried.
Yeah,
because he came as he was a man child when you got him, right? Like didn't have a lot of tread on the tires, barely played in high school, didn't play in college, so extremely raw. Physically, if you saw him, you just saw he had a big frame, but not like filled out. Right. You knew it was gonna start to fill out. What I want to make sure with a lot, and I say this about every NBA player, and I learned this the hard way as my own self as a player. When you gain weight, waist down. You got to be in put it in your glutes and in your thighs and your quad. Like it should not be up here. I know basketball players like to have, you want to do curls for the girls because you want to have definition. I get that. It's nice to have big shoulders and big arms, but you don't need it in the NBA. You don't need it. You don't. You want flexibility, fluid. Look at Reggie Miller.
Yeah.
You don't need to have big arms when you're a basketball player. When you're a shooter, you want to be, spindly. But lower body, that's where you got to have that power, especially if you're a big man. So if he gained the weight there, it's great. That's great. But just naturally getting older, he's going to just get heavy.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be concerned.
Yeah, I wouldn't be concerned, man. He's not Oliver Miller out there. I mean, let's just take it easy, man. Wait and see what happens.
Greg wants to tag. Yeah, he's not that.
Yeah. Mitch will be all right, man. Looking forward to seeing Mitch out there, like I said, with those point guards, man. Very excited to see how he gets acclimated with them. And as you said, man, it's from the neck up with Mitch, man. It's from the neck up. How bad does he want it? We know RJ wants it, and that's why I'm very comfortable and confident that RJ's going to take another step. But with Mitch, it's about the maturity. How much does he really want to be great? And in a contract year, there's no better time than now. So let's see what he's made of there.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, absolutely. And knowing what his role could be and how valuable it's become in today's NBA, that's all you need to be is what you already are. Just be great at that.
For sure. All right, back to the phones we go. Let's go JJ from Brooklyn. JJ, how you feeling, man?
Yo, CP, what's going on, bro? Alan, how's it going? How's everything, fellas?
Good. What's going on?
Good. Yeah, you actually guys stole a couple of questions I was going to ask. I was calling about RJ while I was on hold. You guys answered them well, though. It's just offensively, I'm just a little worried that with Kemba and Fournier now that he's going to kind of be down the depth chart a little bit, scoring-wise, because these guys have the ball a lot. And then defensively, too, with no Bullock, he's going to have to guard the Beals and the Kawhis. I mean, we saw him guard Kawhi last year. I think he's been an okay defender throughout his career so far. I don't think he's been a lockdown defender, but he's going to have to take it to a whole new level defensively because, you don't want Fournier on these elite wings. So I think a lot is going to be on his plate. I think his role for the Knicks might end up being more important defensively than actually offensively, because it's all these wings. There's so many elite wings now, and if Bullock was the guy who was really guarding most of the team's best scorer. So are you guys worried about the defense as a whole? Because with Payton and Bullock, I'm not going to say they were like lockdown defenders, but they're definitely much better defenders than Kemba and Fournier. So in the starting lineup, our only, I'd say, above average defender is Mitch or Noel, whichever one starts. And that's another thing why I don't see the minutes increase that people think is coming with Obi, because I don't see Tibbs having 4, subpar defenders on the floor, especially with no rim protection. I don't think he's going to have Obi, Randle, Fournier, and Kemba. That's going to be a really bad defensive team. So are you guys just worried about the defense as a whole? And also, would you I don't know if you guys think this is a little crazy, because would you guys put McBride in, say, like as a late-game defensive replacement? Because none of our point guards are good defenders. Rose, Kemba, and Quickly, whether you look at him as a point guard or shooting guard, combo, whatever. I'm just a little worried about the defense, as a whole, with some of the upgrades we got offensively. I think they're going to hurt the team defensively. So, yeah, that's all I wanted to ask. Thanks a lot for taking the call, CP. I'll hang up and listen.
Appreciate the call, man. I mean, Alan, I think first and foremost, I don't think anyone even expecting them to finish as a top defense in the league under this team last year. So it's kind of hard to say, but I think based on, again, the bar has been set based on the guys that they've gained and guys that they lost. First and foremost starts at the point of attack, right, with Kemba. How healthy is he with the knees? Can he get around the pick and rolls? How will their pick and roll coverage be? How will they cover his weaknesses, whether it's, lateral movement or size? That's one thing that Tibbs praised about Payton was his size and not having him be taken advantage of in terms of mismatches. So that was one of the things that he praised Payton for. So I think with Kemba and Fournier, it's going to be interesting to see how they gel within the team concept. Julius was actually tops in the league in terms of isolation defense and post-up defense. So from a one-on-one standpoint, he's not going to hurt you. And I think from a team concept, he did fairly well. He did fairly well in terms of protecting the rim. And so, again, I think to JJ's point, a lot of it is going to be on the wings, RJ and Fournier as well, how they defend.
Yeah, let's also remember, too, the NBA is not like the NFL. There's no shutdown corner here in this league. There's a handful of guys that are quality defensive players that make it difficult for average players to below average players. The stars are going to score. Like, you're not going to just –
not shutting anybody down.
Yeah, Tatum's got a bad night. He just can't shoot, whatever it is, and you'll go, oh, he played great defense against Tatum. As we've learned in this league, it's really more about the offensive player not having it. You can have a scheme that can slow somebody down. A lot of times that comes with help. One-on-one in this league today with the rules the way they are, you're just not – there's no glove. I mean, it's just not going to have that kind of a thing. So, again, let's not revise history and make Reggie Bullock out to be a first-team all-defensive player. He was good. He used his size. He was smart. He understood. Didn't foul a lot. Like, there were things about him that he just understood. He had principles that made him an effective, capable defensive wing. It doesn't mean that you can't translate that stuff to RJ, especially if you, and I believe they have, you communicate to him, listen, this is a role we need you to play this year. Start getting ready for it now. Watch this film. Get on this stuff. Think about this stuff. I'm sure all that stuff's been communicated already, because that's the kind of coach Tibbs is and his staff too. That's how they are. But, I mentioned that at the very beginning of the conversation, right, with you? You brought in Kemba, you brought in Evan Fournier. This is going to be a team that can't possibly be the same defensive team that they were. Now, the thing about bringing in, McBride to defend late, how many times did he bring Frank in to defend late?
That's fair.
I mean, once, and how'd it go?
Yeah.
Game one. How'd that go? It didn't go, right? Like, so to bring a guy in cold off the bench and go, all right, here's your assignment, stop him. You got to be in a flow. Like, and it's a rookie on top of it.
Mm-hmm.
I just wonder how these young guys are going to get playing time early. But I will say this. I mean, if defense starts to become a serious enough issue, and the young guys are showing you that they are getting after it, I don't think Tibbs would hesitate to give it a look and see how it goes. But, this is going to be team concept defense. This is going to be a study the scouting report kind of defense. This isn't going to be 5 elite defensive players make a great defensive team. This is 5 players who know basketball, who study the scouting report, who watch film, and who will be prepared, because this coaching staff, if they do one thing great, it's they prepare you for every game. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what you're going to rely on. So I'm not focusing so much on, they're not Alvin Robinson and Robertson and Gary Payton and Dikembe Mutombo. I understand that, but it doesn't mean they can't collectively still be a good team concept defensive team because of structure and preparation, which again, that's up to the players to do. So that's how I'm going to watch this season.
Back to the phones we go. Let's go. Metaphor Orator from Washington, D.C. What's going on, man? First time caller, sounds like. What's going on, bro?
Much appreciation to Knicks Fan TV, CP.
What's going on?
And special guest, Alan Hall from MSG. Let me just say, Jay Randle is the starter. Kemba, the finisher. Jay Randle is the facilitator. Kemba, more of a narrator.
Oh, okay.
Jay Randle needed a closer. Kemba's here to close. Question, who is the most important weapon on the Knicks bench? I'll listen offline. Metaphor Orator on YouTube. Everybody have a wonderful evening.
Nice. He kind of dropped some bars on us there. So
he did, yeah. He definitely made sure he let you know he's got some pipes.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
Off the bench.
Yeah, where are you going?
I think quickly. I think this is going to be a really interesting second year for Quick. Mm-hmm. You see how he talked about a guy that got bigger. Yeah. I mean, he's definitely been in the gym.
The gun show out.
Shoulders got bigger, and so a little more confidence there physically for him. But I just feel like a guy like that, if he can add the facilitating to his game, I just feel like there's that Lou Williams vibe that I think he'll buy into. I really do. I'm not trying to pigeonhole him. I'm not trying to put him in a box, but there are some guys that just have a game, and you watch him. And he's going to be that. Yeah. And once he buys into that, which I think he can, that's the weapon. Like, he can be a weapon.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. I'm going Quick. We know the shooting is already elite, and we talked about this on previous shows about what we'd like to see him work on in terms of his game. As you said, facilitating is one. Seemed like that was a point of emphasis even in Summer League. After each game, first person to speak to him was Tibbs. Tibbs was in his ear, and he's instructing him about the plays that he missed, obviously, whether it's on offense or defense. But I also think, how does he navigate in the intermediate range? There was a stat. He only shot about 15 mid-range jumpers. He's relying on the floater to get to the hoop. Doesn't really finish at the rim fairly well. And also, he's going to have to navigate the new rules in the NBA. That's going to limit some of those creative fouls that he was able to draw, especially earlier on in his rookie year. They didn't really give him that respect later on and in the playoffs, and also thought teams adjusted well to what he was trying to do in terms of drawing the contact. But I want to see how he operates in the mid-range as teams try to run him off that three-point line, and so that's where he's going to have to be better as a facilitator, and then see, is there another go-to move that he has to get some high percentage shots at the rim.
Yeah, getting to the free throw line was special because he was good at the fender bender fouls where he just stopped short, you run into him, right? Like that's something I wonder if he'll still be able to pull off. But he is still pretty good with the sleight of hand. He's a very crafty player. I do think he's got a very high IQ. His also confidence level is irrationally high, which I respect that. Like I think that's okay. I'd rather dial back your confidence than be a player that I'm trying to build up your confidence. It's so much easier to dial you back.
True.
That's what I like about him. Now, again, we glazed over another obvious, key weapon off the bench. It's Derrick Rose.
For sure.
And he was their best player against the Hawks, right? Can we say he was the best player for the Knicks in that series?
No question.
And you could tell the Hawks were scared of him. Like they worried about him. And I wonder with Kemba, does it make Derrick better? Does that make sense? Because you don't have to change the way you play.
Yeah.
When Kemba comes out, Derek comes in. It's kind of the same thing, right? Guy creates for himself, can get into the paint, can make things happen. Both guys, are creative players. I think both are fairly good three-point shooters. Derek became a pretty good three-point shooter by the end of the year.
Very efficient.
Yeah, and I just feel like if you're keeping him in the 20s in his minutes, and we know he's taking care of his body much different even now than he did early in his career after the injuries, he's really become a guy that's he's got such a mature game, in his prep, in his awareness. I think where he is right now mentally, all that stuff. And I wonder, like with a full year now with the Knicks, with already that, the half year under his belt and the role that is defined for him, he got votes for sixth man. I mean, he was a finalist. I think he should always be in the conversation for the rest of his career because of the type of game he's got. He's still got game. You just can't, you're just not going to get high mileage out of him anymore. But with Kemba, you don't really need to.
The Rose Hive. I've been saying that all year, huh? The Rose Hive. They're so sensitive to that. They're even more sensitive than the Ntilikina Hive.
Why?
Let me tell you, the Rose Hive, they'll go watch his 2011, MVP highlights and then come back and tell you how wrong you are about him. I've been saying it from the time he got here. You got to manage the minutes correctly. It's the reason why they went and got Kemba. You have to manage him correctly. And the Rose Hive is like, you're wrong. He's our guy. He can start. He can close. He can do this. He can do that. He can do 30 minutes.
Can
this,
he
that, and
start?
30. No, but I mean, be a 30-plus minute a night guy starting. That's what I mean by start.
Yeah, not for 82.
Right.
Not for 82. Can I do it in a playoff series? I could. And I think they tried to. But I think even he knows just physically managing himself. And that's where I wonder if, Grimes, McBride, if those guys can get some burn, it will be because on a given night, all right, it's a back-to-back. So Kemba won't play the first night of this one. Derek won't play the second night of this one. And one of the kids will kind of fill in the blanks.
That's what I thought.
If need be. And then you're good. I just feel like, why not do that? Why not just to make sure that Kemba it's okay. He doesn't have to play every game, but I'd rather manage him that way and manage Derek that way, knowing I'll have them. Their batteries won't drain as much if I use them, just enough, and then let them recharge. Just enough, let them recharge. There's no reason to really drive them too much too soon.
Yeah.
And I think that's the value of having two of these guys on the roster. Again, Kemba was not somebody that was in the plans. Kemba was somebody that became available to them, and it was like, all right, it's pretty cheap. Let's do it. Let's do it and hope that the time off and him having a full off season where he can really focus and get his health right. Let's hope that whatever was ailing him, that knee and the issues that he's had all last year with Boston, hope it's behind him. But we can't believe it is, right? So if he starts dealing with knee issues by Thanksgiving, Derek's got to start. He's got to start. So, can he log those minutes? I think he can. It's not optimal to ask him to if he doesn't need.
Yeah,
that's how I feel.
That's how I feel. And to the metaphor orator's question, I said quickly because I feel like you know what you're going to get from Rose, and you can count on him. And it was great. What he gave us was great. Big X factor for us to make the playoffs. With Burks, I think you know what you're going to get as well. You're going to get a erratic scorer, but a bucket still. And a guy that could get it going for you in spurts. And I think that's who he is. But with IQ, if he can, we already know shooting is elite. Shot 40% from three. If he can take it up a notch, whether as a facilitator or in the intermediate, then I think, that's really going to give us a lift. Because that trio, that bench unit was already tops in the league. But I think if IQ can evolve in that way, it's really going to be solid.
Think about what you saw in the summer league, him and Obi.
Yeah, chemistry was there, man.
But, one thing we take for granted is Quick's handle. I actually think it's pretty tight. I didn't know, he does have it enough where if you put pressure on him, he's good. He's not a guy that gets a little rattled, put pressure on me, I'm going to turn the ball over, I got to get rid of it because I can't dribble. He's got a pretty tight handle, but he wants to push. And, Obi wants to run. And, that's also something with the second unit that I'm curious to see as well. Is Obi might not get a ton of minutes, but they could be pretty exciting minutes with the two of them together. That summer league was important for those two.
Big time.
Because they didn't have one time. And when you are out of your first year, the one thing you're supposed to do is go to summer league, dominate.
Yeah.
like rookies coming off their rookie season go to summer league, and you're supposed to go there and you're supposed to own everyone. And they did. I mean, they did that. I mean, neither guy looked overwhelmed.
Yeah.
And that was important to show. And when people say, what's the big deal? Exhibit A, Kevin Knox. Like, that's it. This Exhibit A, Kevin Knox. He did not. His second year, coming off his rookie year, he went in and Zion just dominated.
Oof. That was a tough game to be at, man.
Yeah, I know.
Tough to see that.
So not everybody comes in after year 2 and dominates summer league. It doesn't always happen. So, that's why I felt like this summer league was very important, and why Quick is definitely a guy I got my eyes on off the bench.
Same here. Salute to everybody in the chat. Once again, hit that thumbs up button for you boys. Remember, Knicks fans, that this show is, as always, is presented by MANSCAPED, #1 men's grooming tool below the waist. Fellas, it is the fall, so remember that MANSCAPED wants to make sure that you guys don't destroy those pumpkins in the pants, if you know what I mean. And it comes with the sleek, aerodynamic, skin-safe technology, cuts down on those nicks. It's got a nice matte black finish, the Ferrari of ball trimmers, fellas. Always remember the LED spotlight so you don't miss a spot. You can do it in the dark, whatever you're into. Great battery life, wireless as well, waterproof as well. So, man, this is the Lawnmower 4.0 once again from Manscaped. And as usual, they take care of us. Go to manscaped.com, enter promo code KFTV for 20% off plus free shipping. Got to pay the bill, Solo. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if you got one of these, man, but they're good to go, man.
No, I every time I think to myself, I got to get one. Now I know I got the promo code, so I'm in. Once we're done here, I'm going.
20% off.
Free shipping.
That's it.
Done. But the fact that you called it the Ferrari.
Oh, it's the Ferrari of ball trimmers, man. Let me tell you.
I mean, that's a special talent you have to just be able to let that flow so easily.
Yeah, just freestyle, man. Just freestyle. And they come with a guard. The new Lawnmower 4.0 comes with a guard. So, listen, the weather's getting a little bit cooler. Summertime, you might want to go, Michael Jordan. But in the fall and the wintertime, you might want to leave some on. So, maybe you want to go Van Gundy with them. You know what I'm saying?
Maybe you want to put a fade. Maybe you want to change it up.
Yeah. The world is your oyster, fellas. So go ahead and get that 20% off plus free shipping. KFTV, the promo code. All right, my guy Dave is hitting me up. That means somebody's waiting, and the closer J Boogie is on. All right, so we're gonna get to a couple more, and then we gotta close with J Boogie. Let me go to my guy, longtime Knicks fan, longtime season ticket holder, also a friend of the program. My guy Fred from Fresh Meadows in the building. Fred, how you doing, man?
Hey, CP. So good to catch up with you tonight.
Man.
Glad you're having Alan on.
How you doing, Fred?
So, great. So I'm really excited to be on, especially with Alan, given all of his experience and expertise. And I have a question for Alan going way back, and that is, given the foundation that's now with the team in terms of the young talent, do you think this is the best collection of young talent on the Knicks since Rick Pitino's second year with the team? And that same kind of promise is there for the future. And I realize, by the way, there's no Patrick Ewing in any of these players or that they're going to reach that level. But putting that aside, that there was tremendous foundation then of young talent, and do you feel there's something equivalent now that we haven't seen in all these years in that time period?
Yeah, and that young talent, you're talking about Mark Jackson, you're talking about Gerald Wilkins, again, outside of Patrick, you're talking about
Rod Strickland.
Rod Strickland was with that group, another young guy that was there. That was a real interesting group of players, and the way Rick made them play. It's interesting because, Fred, I've made a bit of a parallel to the vibe of those days when Rick got there. And I said last year felt so much like Rick's first year, because you'll remember, Fred, but not a lot of people will. That team was not good in the first half of the season. In fact,
absolutely.
The media was telling Pitino he made a mistake leaving college and should go back to college. And you can't play this way. You can't have them play. Guys aren't going to press and trap in the NBA. He had opposing coaches telling him, this ain't going to work, man. You're going to burn these guys out. Pros aren't going to want to do this. Second half of that season, they had a run, made the playoffs, Again, they played the Celtics. I mean, and that's the Bird Celtics. You aren't beating that team, but they showed something. And McHale, after that series, admitted, like, we are well aware that this group's coming. Like I remember him saying that after that series, and I felt like they won the championship to hear Kevin McHale say that about the Knicks. And then, of course, what was it? 3 years later, Patrick hit the three in the corner up in Boston Garden, Game 5, and he basically put an end to the Bird dynasty. Like, that was it. That was the last time we heard from that group. I feel the vibe very similar. Team obviously not. Much different kind of team. Vibe similar. Setting a like a foundation, like you said, with some younger guys that we're going to have to grow together. A year later, they've got a broom out in Philly. Like, you remember, right? Like, a year later, they won 50. They got a broom out in Philly.
Bomb squad, man.
Yeah. So, there's a vibe of that, no doubt about it. But, of course, the piece that they're missing is the most critical one, and that's, the all-time Hall of Famer, which this roster, Derrick Rose might wind up in the Hall of Fame one day, but, obviously he's not part of the young core. So I think that's what you're waiting to see is will they ever get that piece? That's what's missing. But the vibe is a lot of the same. The vibe is definitely the same.
Yeah, I think a lot of that depends on RJ. Right now, the way this group is constructed, because you have to figure the way that they're going to win games, they're not going to be in the lottery for any time soon. So, I mean, is it impossible for Grimes or McBride to be that guy? No, but
unless Dallas sucks, you never know.
Well, yeah, we'll see, because we still have that 2023 pick, so we'll see. Hopefully, Frank brings us some good luck down there in Dallas. Frank, KP, Trey Burke, Tim Hardaway Jr. They got Bullock. They're assembling the old Knicks down there, man. They're gonna call Kurt Thomas out of retirement and see what Kurt's doing down there. So. We'll have to see how it goes, man. But shout out to Fred, man. Great call as usual. All right, let's go to I heard J Boogie's on the line, so we're going to close with him. Angel, what's going on, bro?
Yo, what's good, CP? How you doing, bro?
Good, man. How you doing?
I'm good, bro. And Alan Hahn, it's a pleasure to meet you, sir. How you doing?
Good. Likewise. Good to meet you.
Good, man. Hey, CP, happy birthday, by the way, man.
Thank you, bro.
I said
Thanks
it on Twitter, but I gotta make sure I say it to you on the phone.
Thanks.
All right, wait.
Can I get
how old you are, though? I need to get your age. Everybody's telling you happy birthday. When was your birthday? How old are you now?
My birthday was on the 20th, man. The star was born on the 20th. It was a great day. It was a great day in the history of the world. I'm 37, Solo. 37. I know I probably look 27. But 37, man. 37 years young. Still going.
That's nothing.
Yeah, still going, man.
Yeah, absolutely. You're not even halfway there. Come on, man. You're still doing this. You're still going this way.
Yeah. So, give thanks, man. But Angel, appreciate it, bro.
You're still young, CP. You still young.
Appreciate it, man.
I have a question, though.
Mm-hmm.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, loud and clear. Go ahead.
Yeah, so two questions, right? Being the fact that the NBA changed the flopping rules, Alan, do you feel like that's going to have a major impact on the season? Because obviously with Trae Young, James Harden, players like that, and a lot of players do it. Do you feel like that's going to have a major impact? Because obviously the Knicks were in a lot of games, and, with a lot of fouls, it just kind of changed the game completely. And my second question is when you look at the Eastern Conference right now, a lot of people have the Bulls, Miami, Boston, but I just feel like with the Bulls, they haven't played one game yet. So I can't put them over the Knicks. Even with Boston, they got two great players, but they don't have no bench, and they don't have a big man either. And I just feel like they're not as good as what people think they are. And Miami, yeah, they got Kyle Lowry, but I think they're old, and I do feel like the thing with Philly is going to hurt them in the long run, and I think the Knicks have a chance of beating them a couple of times this year as well. Do you see the Knicks as a top 60 team, or you see them as a play-in? Because I have them still in the top 4. And as always, guys, thank you guys for taking my call. Appreciate it.
Thanks a lot.
All right, when it comes to the question about flopping, just understand that it's more of a point of emphasis. Like it's not like there's a rule or anything. Like they haven't done that. It's more of a point of emphasis that they're talking about. Where you remember when Chris Paul was coming around that screen. I think it was it Pat Beverly?
Yeah.
In the conference finals, right? And then he went to take a shot, but he kind of like floated into Bev as Bev came around, and then he flipped over like a real awkward fall, right? It looked like it was a real dangerous play, and it was really initiated by Chris. Like all he had to do was rise up, stay balanced, shoot your shot, but he leaned just to draw the foul, and Pat ran right into him, and obviously that got ugly. That's the kind of stuff that they're going to say when we watch it back and we see that you initiate the contact, you're not getting that call. So I still think you're going to see, like when Trey, who's so crafty at coming around, he uses the screen so well because he's good at stops and starts. Like he's a guy that, will all of a sudden just hit the brakes, and not everybody can do that and stay under control. He can. And I still think you're going to get caught just because you're allowed to stop.
Right.
You're allowed to stop. Now, you can't back up into someone
Jump
like
back
I think
into him.
Quick was doing a lot of that where he was floating into you. They're not going to let you do that anymore, but you can stop short. So, it's not a new rule. Just understand that it'll be a point of emphasis that they will monitor, and there's certain things you're just not going to get away with. Sort of like the rip through, they had to say, all right, that's not a basketball play. Well, neither is, and I've always felt this. The basket's that way. You shouldn't be going that way. So, when you tell me I'm going up for my shot, why the hell are you going that way then? The basket's this way. I've never understood why we reward even that step when you're allowed the one step after a dribble. I never understood why you're allowed to make a step to the right when the basket's that way. Right. Why can I go that way? It always should be towards the basket. Every move, if it's a pick up the dribble move, should only be to the basket, not anywhere else. But, that's me. So that's the main thing there. Point of emphasis, not a new rule, not something that you're not going to see a dramatic change, but you are going to see it a little more emphasized on replays. As far as, was it Angel, right?
Yeah, Angel.
Top 4, God bless you. I mean, you are a diehard, and I love you for it. Talent-wise, they have the depth to be a top 6 team. They have the depth to endure an 82-game season, to deal with some injuries that will allow them to get through a lot of nights where, it's tough to get through an NBA season. Losing streaks happen because you have injuries, you have guys missing, whatever it is. So I like their depth to allow them to be built to last. Now, with that in mind, you got to avoid the 7-10 by all costs.
Yeah.
That's what you've got to do. Boston still has 2 all-stars. You can't take that away from them. You can say what you want. And I said it. I don't know about their bench. Very suspect bench. You don't have a point guard and a new head coach who's never been a head coach before, although everybody loves Udoka.
Yeah.
You still have 2 stars. And as long as you have 2 stars, you're going to be better than the other team on most nights. So I wouldn't sleep on them. I do wonder what's going to happen to Philly. The Bulls have talent. What are they, but what's it built on, right? Like what's their identity? I don't know what their identity is, but they're going to be better. Lonzo Ball is a terrific addition to that team. So, they're going to be tough. Billy Donovan's a hell of a coach. So the East got better. You have to accept it. Now, how the Knicks challenge it, that's what we've got to find out. But I think what their strength is going to be is their depth.
Depth. Embrace the depth, Tips. Got to embrace the depth for sure. All right, a couple more calls. Salute to everybody in the chat. Once again, hit that thumbs up button for you boys. We got 1,200 in the chat, so let's go CP Solo here on the ones and twos on this Wednesday night talking Knicks. All right, Solo, this next guy, he goes by the name of Jay from Florida. His nickname in the chat is the Debbie Downer. A lot of times he draws tomato emojis from the participants in the chat because he's very contrarian in his views. He's a tanker guy, he's a tanker.
Yeah.
Last week we had a guy from Staten Island challenge him in the Battle of the Fans, and Joel from Staten Island took home the crown. So Jay's coming. He's down bad a little bit. He's coming in with the L. Jay, how you feeling tonight, man?
I respect the L, man. I'm going to take my L, man. Run it up for the guys. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Alan, appreciate you coming through, talking to the fans, man. I feel like when you come through, it's like the front office giving us some time because we ain't heard from Leon Rose in 10 years or Worldwide West in the last 10 years. So I appreciate you coming out and showing us some love and giving us some insight. CP, my brother, happy birthday as always,
Thank
my brother.
you, bro.
Couple things, man. I'm trying to figure out. I want to get something out of Kevin Knox, man. I'm a draft guy, right? So my argument is, last year I felt like we should have made the playoffs. Great. I feel like we should have been a playing team and we should have had a top 13 pick. That was my aim for last year. I feel like the 4th seed set us back for the future. People may disagree with me. That's just how I feel. That's how I'm coming with it. Last year, Kevin Knox was playing ahead of Burks. Kevin Knox was getting all the love from Tibbs. Tibbs is like he came in the best shape. He's focused. He's ready to go. We got to get something out of Kevin Knox, man. I know you on the inside. You have to be seeing what's going down. He's 6'8", 220. He played, 75 games in his rookie year. He was almost a 40% three-point shooter in the time he did get last year. We got to see something out of Knox. I don't care about the vets. CP will tell you I don't care about Burks, Nerlens. Them cats are all married. They want to get their next contract. They don't care about New York. I want to invest in my kids, play the young guys. You got Knicks fans out there that think McBride and Grimes is getting time next year. I don't think they're getting any time, bro. I think Tibbs is going to grind my boy Kemba knees down to salt. He's going to grind Derrick Rose knees down to salt. He's going to get everything out of his vets. I don't think them kids is coming off the bench. My last point is, we always talk about the Knicks getting a free agent, and the kid Joel from Staten Island, he got me, right? I take my L in pride. But if you look at it, a lot of these cats, man, my wife be in here watching YouTube, right? A lot of these wives, NBA wives, got YouTube channels. Beal's wife is from D.C., her family from D.C. I don't see Beal leaving D.C. I don't see Dame leaving Portland. I don't see a lot of these NBA players got wives that really call the shots. My wife be calling the shots. CP, your girl, wife, they be calling the shots. I don't see them taking their kids and their family out because the Knicks want them. I think it's a really complex decision for a lot of NBA players. My whole thing is built from the draft. Get your kids, nurture your kids. Make sure Mitch is on fire. Make sure Knox is on fire. IQ, all in. Last question. Who do you think out of the group of kids is going to be the star? Out of IQ, RJ, Mitch, Knox, Grimes, whoever. Who do you think is going to be the star?
Right.
I'm going, Allen. I appreciate you. Tell Leon to pull up, man. We want to hear from you. Leon and Worldwide West, I know you watching. Pull up. We want to hear y'all.
J, peace, bro.
Yeah, I'll say this, though. What I like about the front office not talking is I feel like it's something New York about that, man. Like, we get caught up too much in how New York is too much talk, but really, like, if you grew up in New York, like, you understand, true New York is like, hey, I know it's cliche now to say, but, like, real G's, they, move in
90
silence.
seconds.
Like, there's something about, like, when I got something to say, you'll know. Like, I'll tell you. Mm-hmm. But if I have nothing to tell you, then that's it. We sit in silence. So I appreciate that. But Kevin is up against it this year. He's got to show up in camp ready to fight for his life, his career. Mm-hmm. Like, he's got to show up. And he's been in the league long enough now. So he's a guy I'm watching too. Like, make a case.
60 seconds.
Get their attention. That's what I'm looking at. So he's not wrong about Knox. You got to figure out where he fits, and he's got to make a case for playing time. He's got to this year.
Yeah, Kev has to fight, man. That's my guy. Came in shooting well from the corners, and he just lost his way. He never really figured out a way to put the ball on the floor confidently and finish, especially with his length and size. Thought he should have been a lot better. Getting COVID or being in the COVID protocol for summer league may have been a setback because it seems like he wanted to, start the season off in a rhythm. So that didn't bode too well for him. And then all the depth that we have, I think he's on an uphill climb. Honestly, we'll have to see. Injuries certainly play a factor in it, and COVID is an injury that
10 seconds.
Knock on wood, these guys don't get, but it's certainly looming around this team. So maybe Kev gets his opportunity, in one of those ways, but I don't see it. I just don't see it.
But the idea of wanting to see the young guys play and that making the playoffs, as a 4 seed, set this franchise back. Come on, like, the franchise needed a year like that to, like I said. you had to get out of relegation. Anybody that knows soccer knows what I'm referencing.
Yeah,
You got to
yeah.
get out of relegation and get back in the league. And everybody, like a lot of my friends around the NBA who knew, what the year, it's tough. You do it. Like, you understand.
Mm-hmm.
It's tough to after loss after loss after loss. You got to sit and talk about it. Like, we all do it. And, we do it because we have passion for it. I do it because I get paid to do it. But it's like you do it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's nice to have a season where you're talking about winning and making the playoffs and being like relevant and, having home games in the playoffs and stuff like that's, like you want that energy. So, they would congratulate me and I would say, it's nice to be back in the league. It's important for the whole league to go, hey, they're doing a good job there. Like Leon hired some good people. Like they've got a really good franchise now.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sorry, you haven't been able to say that about this franchise in a long time. Like they're running that thing right. That was important. So no way do I agree that the franchise was set back by making the 4 seed in the East. No chance. And oh, by the way, those 2 young guys you drafted are pretty damn good players who are going to be in the league for a long time. All right. Well, could you have gotten at 13 or something like that? Do you feel like, would you have gotten a superstar?
It's hard to say.
Come on. Like, so there's, I think there are people, and it's no disrespect to him, but I think there are people that really want to stay on that perpetual train of draft picks because it's the safest way to go. Right? It's safe that way.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore, you never have to prove anything. You just keep collecting young players and picks. You just keep doing it and doing it and doing it. And then you hope that you could be the Thunder and you hit 3 years in a row the way they did to get to the finals. But then what happened? They couldn't afford to keep them together, and that did less. Now we're at the Thunder. Guess what they're doing? Again.
Draft
They're back
picks.
in the cycle.
A ton of draft picks.
Right? Like what you really hope, like to me, the ultimate example that no one ever brings this up is the Golden State Warriors.
Mm-hmm.
All right. How many top 5 picks did they have? How many top 5 picks?
Yeah, none. I think Steph was 7.
Harrison Barnes.
Harrison Barnes.
And they moved on from him.
Yeah.
So they kept Steph, they kept Clay, and Draymond was a second-round pick. And that's the core. That's their DNA of a championship team. That. And then what they do with that core? They got vets.
Solid vets. Quality vets.
They put a bunch of vets around them, and then that's what they did. But you hit on draft picks that didn't have to be top 5 picks.
Yeah.
But you were good at drafting. You made good picks. One at the expense of the Knicks, but we'll move on from that. But that's what you do. And that's what you are hoping that the Knicks can finally get to a place where Mitchell Robinson is perennially one of the best defensive centers in the league. RJ Barrett turns into what he's supposed to be in the NBA, which in his class, one of the best players of his age group, right? He's supposed to be that. That's what you're hoping for. And as the years go by and they get older and the league gets older, they emerge where they were when you were drafted, among the best of their class. That's kind of how that has to go, but you got to give it time and it's got to have some consistency and they've got to be around winning.
Yeah.
They've got to be around that environment to understand it and to grow in it, not just get your head kicked in year after year because you suck. How's that working out for the Sacramento Kings?
Yeah. Kings, Timberwolves,
Yeah.
Thunder, as you said right now. I think it just shows you that there's no perfect way to build, right? Some teams will get lucky and they'll get LeBron James, but you can't count on that. So you're gonna have to take your chances. You hope again that our young players are developed and they develop around those quality vets, the Derrick Roses, the good people, the good chemistry, the good locker room, solid coaching, development, and see where it goes as you continue to keep the cap, flexible, have your war chest to draft capital, and then you make a move when the timing is right. And so
one more thing for the process people, okay? Ben Simmons wants out, says he'll never play for the Sixers again. So now, the basically the end result of the 76ers trust the process era is Joel Embiid, who we know is injury prone, on a $200 million contract, and no one else.
That's it.
And the closest you got to a championship was a bounce that went against you, that off the hands of Kawhi
Leonard. That's it.
So was it worth it? Was it worth it?
Yeah.
13 wins, 15 wins. Was it worth it? Come on.
No perfect way, man.
It's look at Golden State. You want a blueprint? That's your blueprint. Just draft well and develop players. and let it grow, because those owners got booed when they traded Monte Ellis and they gave Steph Curry an extension. That's a fact, man. That owner got booed by his own people. Rick Barry had to grab the microphone and scold the fans for booing the owner.
Remember that.
Saying, trust this man.
Yep.
He knows what he's doing. They're like, how can you trade Monte Ellis? CP, Monte Ellis. What are we talking about here? It's Steph Curry, one of the all-time greats now.
Yep.
But back then, it's, he has bad ankles. He's never going to be healthy. He's too small. How can they get rid of a great scorer like Monte? You should have gotten rid of him. Giving him an extension doesn't make sense. All that stuff. Think about that. Some things just need a minute, right?
Got to give it some time, man. Got to give it some time.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Right, I'm done with my speech.
So to everybody in the chat, once again, hit that thumbs up button for you boys. All right, final call tonight. We had a great show, chopping it up with Nick CP and Han Solo on the ones and twos. Great show, everybody. But the final call tonight, Han, we got to introduce you to J Boogie. We dubbed him the closer last year. He called in, first and foremost, he called in very early in the season and predicted a top 8 and then a top 4 finish. He was right on the money.
Damn.
We dubbed him the closer just off of that. Off of the losses. Yeah.
Bring him in with the Sandman.
Off the
Mariano.
losses. He brings us up off the losses. After the wins, he turns it up a notch and gets us ready for the next game. But he only calls in for the marquee nights, like tonight, the big games. He doesn't call in for the bum nights, as he said. That was his words, not mine. He doesn't call in for the bum nights. He comes in for prime time, and we're going to have him close the show right now. J Boogie from North Carolina. What's good, bro?
Salute. 3 capital S's. Shout out to everybody that's rocking with us. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Everybody following that orange and blue. When I say orange and blue, I ain't talking about the Denver Broncos and I ain't talking about the Auburn Tigers. None of that. I'm talking about this New York Knicks thing that we got vibing. Shout out to my GM, my general manager, CP, the young Lloyd Banks, a.k.a. another GM, a great man. Shout out to my man, Super Dave, the best board man it is in the game, in the business. Shout out to my homegirl, my little niece, Ashley, the Wonder Woman. Shout out to CK2K, and welcome aboard to Mr. Alan Hahn himself, man. Give everybody a clap inside the chat. We appreciate you coming through. I don't have no questions to ask you at all, my brother. Tonight is your flower night. I appreciate who you are as a man. I appreciate you coming through and you sharing your thoughts and your energy with us, keeping it ground with the undergrounds, you know what I'm saying? I appreciate that highly. When I see you on ESPN, I know we got a real one aboard, and I know he going to keep it real with us all the way. Ain't no faking. Even when you say something wrong about the Knicks, we know it is real. And the other ones that say something and it don't be real, I appreciate you, salute you. I don't know if you've been in the service or anything or not, but my hand go above to my forehead and salute you, Mr. Hahn. And I want to let you know something. I got an album get ready to drop. Me and CP get ready to get aboard and lock this thing in. I wanted to have clearance for one of my songs tonight, but I cursed somebody out that's on the ESPN, so I didn't have the clearance for those. But I name dropped you in the song, you know what I'm saying? And I says, in the front, I got soldiers playing chess like pawn. I'm Bart Scott, the Allen version, Mr. Alan Hahn. I name dropped you in this album, you know what I'm saying? Because I name drop all the real ones, you know what I'm saying? I am the voice of the New York Knicks. I say the things that people don't say because, you know what I'm saying, they still profession, but they still want to say it. And I say the things that the people in the chats want to be saying and want to be heard about, you know what I'm saying? So I just wanted to give you your flowers and let you know we love and appreciate you to the fullest, man. All the way 100 thumbs up, man. Appreciate your hard work, your everything, your energy, everything you doing, my brother. And shout out to everybody that's in the chat. Once again, that thing is back around. So I need everybody to continue on staying healthy and safe. You know what I'm saying? Protect yourself. Love yourself. Wash your hands. Wipe your doorknobs. Wear your masks, you know what I'm saying? Do what you got to do to help keep this thing away from each and everybody, man. That thing is out there. I need all the fathers to love their kids. All the mothers love their kids. All the husbands love your wives. All the wives love your husband. Cherish your family home, you know what I'm saying? And don't let nobody interfere your home at all. Just lock that in. Happy born day to my man CP. Not only happy born day, but also happy new year. Because when your birthday comes, you that one age in that same year. When the New Year's come, you could be the 2 different age numbers in those 2 different years. Salute to you, my brother, you know what I'm saying? And all those that's waiting for the camp to open, Nah, you're wrong. The camp was open when we lost that game. This ain't been the off season. This been the on season. The officers has been worked. The officers put all that work in that everybody wanted us to have and have done. Now we here. I'm ready for the Celtics. You know what I'm saying? Bring that little green troll over here back to the Garden, and we got something for him. And we gonna start with the smooth beard man, my brother, Mr. What's his name? I lost my thought. Evan Fournier, the brother. He got the same beard as my man CP. He's a big payback coming on, man. So I just wanted to shout out to everybody. Alan Hahn, love and respect everything you are, man. Keep doing what you're doing, and just know every time that you on that window, man, and you representing that ESPN, you know what I'm saying, doing your profession, just know you got a bunch of orange and blue New York Knicks following, riding behind you. Salute, 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 3 capital S's.
And the closer is out of there.
Yes. What a way to go. Yes. Yeah, I feel that, man. I feel that a lot. I really do. That I definitely feel that, and I feel that when I am on that thing. When I was sitting there in First Take and I had to take on Kendrick Perkins about some stuff, you know, and you know, they gave me a minute to do a little essay, and you know, I did that explanation about Zion, and you know, it was from the heart. And I take a lot of that, you know, oh, too much Knicks, this and that. And I'm like, well, somebody's got to do it, right? Yeah. It is the worldwide leader, right? And you know, it is special, and it means a lot. Like you asked me earlier, or a caller asked me earlier about that wow moment. I still have them, man. Like I still have them. You know, like you'll have them when you do a stand up at the Garden one day, when you have your phone in front of you and you're doing something live for your fans, and you happen to do it at the Garden. You're gonna have that moment too, man. But like that's. Yeah, I still have them. You know, I still have them sitting on a set at First Take, sitting on the morning show with Keyshawn Johnson, right? And just talking to him and, you know, all the different places that I get to go and different people I get to see. And I will just drop this real quick. There's more to come with me on ESPN on the NBA side of things.
Oh, dropping gems on Knicks Fan TV. Breaking news here, people.
This will be year 10 for me at MSG Networks. All right?
Let's go.
But there's more for me to do with ESPN, and I'm looking forward to that this coming season, and it's perfect timing because it lines up well with where the Knicks are now as a franchise. So it's like I said, still more to come. Only going up from here, man. Going up.
And you had a monster summer yourself, man, because when the season started, you had Bart and Hahn go national. Then you did the morning show with Keyshawn and Jay Will. You took over that for a couple months, right?
6 months.
6 months. 6 months on the grind, man. And then MSG 150. I feel like you're double dipping for those Emmys, man. Once you get a taste of a few Emmys, you know, the grind don't stop for you, man.
That's what it is. You get addicted to it, right? It's like that Kobe thing. You can't just have one.
That's right.
You know, I mean, that's what it gets. It just, you keep raising the bar. And that's the lesson. I mean, when people always talk about, right, they try to get advice. You know, how did you get to where you got? Like you started something from literally, right? Like, what'd you do? You turned the laptop on. Yeah. And from there, it just grew, right? It built. But that's everyday sweat. That's everyday prep. That's every day just making sure you're the best at your craft. You make mistakes, you learn from, you get better. This becomes an obsession. You know, and anybody that could be watching that always asks those questions. I get those questions all the time. Like, you know, how'd you get there where you got? Like, how did I get there? Because it started literally, you know, the smallest thing possible, part-time, out of college, living with my parents. Like, yeah, like it wasn't, you know, it's a grind. It is. But you believe in it and you just keep working at it, but you have pride in what you do, and that you just make sure whatever I'm doing, I'm trying my best, and I want to get better each time, and I'll just keep growing this thing because I believe in myself. But the most important thing is to always be consistent.
Yeah.
And that's why I give you the flowers, because I've watched this. You know, I had to beg to come on last year. I know, I understand, and I finally got you to have me on. And I just feel like it was just fun. It's just fun watching what this thing has grown into. And that's a lesson to a lot of people, is you just stay consistent in what you do. You believe in it and you put in that work, and good things come. And maybe the same thing can happen finally for this franchise, because it's good for business, isn't it? It's good for everybody's business.
It's fantastic, man. It's fantastic, Al. And like I said, man, I appreciate all the time that you gave us. We finally were able to connect on a tradition unlike any other, man. And, I'm just happy that I still have a direct line to you. I don't have to go through your people. I don't have to go through your publicists I got to with all these other guys, man.
Yeah. I'm waiting for that. Yeah. Hit up my PR person. We'll work it out. I'm waiting for that response one of these days, man. Give me a prediction. Give me a win total. Come on.
46 wins, 6th seed in the East, maybe 5th. I think we're going to be battling with Miami, with Boston. But I'm going 6. Solid 6. Stay healthy, knock on wood for health, especially with our point guards and with our man in the middle. Everything else will come into place. I feel like the chemistry is there. Julius is ready. RJ is ready to go. Burks, Rose, they're ready to go off the bench. That's not a problem. Obi's going to be anxious and ready to go. He's going to say that rookie year was a fluke. Don't worry about it. He's going to be catching alley-oops. The Garden is going to be electric opening night, man. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I can't wait for that. I'm going to play Prices Right with you and say 45. I'm going to go $1 lower.
All
45 right. Dubs. I also think top 6. I think that they do whatever it takes to avoid the 7-10. I do think fortune's got to come their way on a lot of things, including health. So things have to work out, but I do think the potential is there. 45 plus, but 45 should be, to me, that measuring stick of where they should go with a win total. And then postseason, we'll talk about it when we get there because it's a long road there.
Yeah.
But as I said at the beginning, this is the most anticipation I've had for a Knicks season since 2012. It's been a minute. And so, next week, training camp, they'll have to lock me out of the damn gym because I can't wait.
Well, let's go, man. Alan Hahn, the Knicks Fix. Barton Hahn, MSG 150. Alan, thanks again, man.
All the best.
Have a good night.
All right, C3.
So to everybody in the chat, once again, hit that thumbs up button for you boys. Great show. Once again, thank you to Alan Hahn for joining us. We did 2 hours of Knicks talk. I hope you guys enjoyed it, man. Once again, hit that like button, hit that thumbs up button, break the YouTube algorithm, let them know Knicks Fan TV's #1 show for the fans by the fans. Remember, the home opener can be yours. You can come with us. Come with CP and Dave and Papa Left and Ari and my girls at Knicks Omni Fan. It's gonna be a monster night, starting with the pregame show, then to the game, and a chance to win exclusive prizes, including an autographed Julius Randle basketball Most Improved Player. And once again, that's brought to you by my guys at Forzano Law Firm. Shout out Anthony and Dave for supporting us. Go to ForzanoLaw.com for a 24-hour live assistant for your personal injury needs. If you guys have been injured in a car accident, a construction accident, slip and fall, trip and fall, nursing home incident, my guys at Forzano Law will help you on the road to financial compensation. And they offer free consultation, free representation unless you get paid. And also call that number, 718-372-1397. You can also go visit them in person, 271 Avenue U in Brooklyn, 1 block from the F train. Let me shout out the rest of the Super Chats. I know the Super Chats are coming in fast and furious while we're on. I try to get to them as best as I can, but usually save most of them for last. So shout out Jordan Bob. He says Rose for the 6-man, RJ MIP, Mitch Defensive Player of the Year. Gotta be legend all the way in Costa Rica. Says salute CP and Allen. As long as we can stay healthy, this will be a season to remember. The R says shout out to CP and Hahn. Do we think we have enough size at the small forward position? That'll be a key, man. Fournier's going to be there. RJ will be rotating in and out of there. Does Kev factor in there? We'll have to see. Paul Robinson, appreciate the super chat. He says the offense could potentially match the defense this year. I'm excited. Salute CP and Allen. Abdul checking in San Diego, my West Coast guy. Happy birthday, my guy. May God bless you with many more. Han Solo, major fan. Salute. KFTV, ready for the season. Michael Parker sends a super chat. He says, is Kevin not getting traded? Please say yes. Yo, Michael Parker, bro. Never ceases to amaze me, man, with the Doc slander, man. Shout out my guy, Michael Parker, as always. Keeps it a buck, man. Always keeps it a buck, no matter what. You can always count on that. So I definitely appreciate you, my guy. Let me switch screens up here for y'all. Steve Verner, shout out Steve Verner, says shout out to Alan Hahn and the 8K camera quality. Yeah, Hahn was starting on me tonight, man. You know, Hahn was starting on me with the camera work, man. He looked like when Fox and NBC, they do those touchdown cameras and they have like the 8K quality. I'm just step my game up, man. I'm working on it, no doubt about it. He's getting those ESPN checks, man. So the quality's increasing with the wallet. Rob Clark says that Brentwood aristocrat can handle all the smoke. Boston Nick, appreciate the super chat, rare edition. I got you. EC2189 Kaku says Zion scenario makes a setup he can be traded at peak value for the Pels. Granted, nothing happens that would disrupt it. Knicks would have to be prepared. Shane Mack from New Jersey, thanks for the super chat. The R, thanks again. Jay Busby, he says, asked this on Twitter yesterday, but what Nick has the most to prove this season? What Nick has the most to prove? Well, I think it's Mitch. Number one, has to prove that he can stay healthy. And he's working on a contract, man. What will his value be? And what value will the Knicks see in terms of Mitch and what he can bring to the team? Remember, they just gave Noel his bag, 3 years, 30. They just have a surprise draft pick in Jericho Sims. He's on the two-way. I think it's Mitch that has the most to prove. What do you guys think in the chat? Who has the most to prove on this Knick roster? JC says, don't get love for ball-dominant guards who are undersized, bad defense. If that's your best player, you need unreasonable supporting cast to win champs. Fools, gold, curse. Well, first of all, JC, you know, this team is not a championship caliber team. We know that. You know, this team is a building team trying to win games while their young players develop. So, you know, Kemba being a low-risk move on $8 million a year, what do we really have to lose? He's better than what we had. And that's good for me. And I still think he's going to be able to help. Yes, he's a ball-dominant guard, but I think we do need that because we don't know what RJ is going to be as far as generating offense. And we need guys that can generate offense on their own on this team. So I think Kemba being here, supporting Derrick Rose, I think that's where we need to be at this moment. For Boston, they didn't feel that way. And they want to run it through Tatum and Brown. For us, I think we need that. We need that skill set that Kemba brings here. So I don't, yes, he's undersized. Yes, defense is going to be an issue. But as we said, it's a team concept. So we'll have to see what happens. Mr. Durante says, CP and Allen, what's going on? Robert Parrish sends a super chat, says, love Mitch, yet he has lots to prove to become a top 10 and 10-5 in this league. So, Robert agrees with me. Eddie SFL says, CP, did you miss the nobody put the baby in the corner joke? Big fan of the show, and Hahn, thanks for doing this. No, it's not. That's from a movie, right? Nobody puts baby in the corner. What movie is that from? Nobody puts baby in the corner. It's a movie reference. No, I caught that. I definitely caught that. Shea Burgess, thanks for super chat. I got that. Russell Whiskey got that. Owen Ace says, excellent points on the Knicks, guys. Looking forward to seeing this team achieve higher heights. Grown Simba super chat. I got that. Junior Karoma. Junior, can we get a win this weekend? I will be at the Meadowlands. I will be at the Giants and Falcons game. Gotta salute my guy Eli on his years of service. Brought us 2 championships, man. I gotta go for that. You know, I only go to a couple Giants games a year, and that's absolutely gonna be one of them. So I'll be at the Meadowlands on Sunday. Pull up on me if you're there. Send me a DM on Instagram and Twitter and let me know where you're at. And yeah, man, salute to everybody once again. Chico Fernandez super chat, happy birthday CP and good riddance to that damn French cadaver. The hive sucks. See you at Mustang Harry's. Chico always dropping jokes on Twitter and has another one for the Frank Hive as we close the show. Remember, go to KnicksFanTV.com for the home opener giveaway. Don't miss your chance to win. And the winners will be announced on October 5th during the Knicks versus Pacers post-game show. So if you want to go to the game, we're going to give away 2 tickets to 2 winners. So we have 4 tickets in all, 2 sets of 2 is how we're going to do that. And already got a couple of guests lined up for the pregame party. So don't miss it. If you already have your tickets to the game, we are selling tickets to the pregame party as well. If you go to the omnifam.com, you can go get your ticket. And then we can just mob out to MSG together, man. So great show for Alan Hahn, CP the franchise, super producer.